federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from immediately enacting some of the changes sought by President Donald Trump, including blocking a proof of citizenship requirement to the federal voter registration form. Voting in federal elections by non-citizens is already illegal, but the judge denied other requests from a group of Democratic plaintiffs, including refusing to block Trump's order to tighten mail-in ballot deadlines. Also denied was the request to stop Trump from directing the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to review state voter lists alongside immigration databases. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The president tells Time magazine that Crimea will stay with Russia. The statement comes amid Mr. Trump's efforts to end the war in Ukraine. If he hasn't already, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said he will sign a $1 billion private school voucher bill to receive final legislative approval. Conservatives say former talk show host Steve Hilton may strike a chord with a broad range of disgruntled California voters to campaigns for governor.
Former California Congressman John Campbell says when it comes to college tuition in the Golden State,
it is absolutely crazy.
He says white heterosexual Californians are now disadvantaged in college admissions, and out-of-state students pay higher rates, but for illegals,
you pay in-state.
And Campbell says the state just spent $10 billion in health care for illegals in a single year.
But all kinds of services that citizens need and get are being cut back.
Campbell was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Bob Agnew reported.
Out of this morning's opening bell on Wall Street, the Dow futures down 166 points. NASDAQ futures are off 67. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
In Rome, it's been mourning around the clock.
The doors are staying open all night at St. Peter's Basilica for mourners to pay their respects to Pope Francis. The turnout has been bigger than expected. Many set their alarm clock.
I got up at 4:30 to be here at 5 a.m.
American Catherine Plazek says she's there to thank Pope Francis for everything he has done for the church.
And to be together with people from so many different places, parts of the world, you hear accents. There's an Indian priest behind me. There are Italians next to me.
Also in line is Father Alex Mugalasi from Uganda.
We are coming to pay our last respects to him.
A day and a half after opening, the Vatican says more than 90,000 people have passed by the Pope's wooden coffin. I'm Ed Donahue.
And the Pope to be laid to rest tomorrow. A funeral in St. Peter's Square at the Vatican. President Trump and First Lady Melania will attend. They'll be joining dignitaries from around the world. News and analysis at townhall.com. Airline ID requirements are being tightened.
Starting May 7th, most adults catching a flight in the United States will be required to present a passport or an upgraded state-issued identification card that meets federal Real ID standards. Obtaining an ID with that designation, indicated in most states by a white star and a circle, means taking more documents to the Motor Vehicle Agency than most states require for regular IDs. For those that still need to go through the process, you'll likely have to wait. Some states are booked solid, and others only a few appointments before the deadline are left. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A judge has ruled that prosecutors can pursue the death penalty against Brian Kohberger if he's convicted of murdering 4 University of Idaho students who were stabbed to death in 2022. It's despite the defendant's recent autism diagnosis. The trial set to begin in August. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. The Goddard Rockets baseball team got off to a good start with their triple header against Portales. They got one yesterday.
in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to a morning without Mike Winters. That's I ain't he. That wouldn't be me. Mixmaster Mike Winters off today. Got me in the captain's chair. Sorry, second banana filling in the main spot. But, of course, we all celebrate Mixmaster Mike Winters. I'm not going to say how old, but happy birthday to Mike Winters. He opted to take his birthday off, and deservedly so. The guy's been going and going and going. He's the unsung hero here at Pecos Valley Broadcasting Company. So we all take our hats off to Mixmaster Mike and, of course, let him have that extra day off. We'll keep you up to date as to what he's up to this morning to fill the time, because as a morning DJ, you can't help but wake up early. Even sleeping in for us is like 8 max. So if he's not up by now, he will be up in the very, very, very near future. And then it's all about filling that time. So I know first and foremost, he's going to eat a gigantic bowl of cereal, probably out of a mixing bowl. If you're doing it right, that's how I would do it. And then, of course, as we mentioned yesterday, the attempted slide across the tile in his kitchen in just tidy-whitey underpants to old-time rock and roll. Of course, if you can pull that off, the whole day is his oyster. But happy birthday, Mixmaster Mike Winters. And like I said, you got Sean Smalls inside your radios filling in on this finally Friday morning. Hopefully your weekend ahead is chock full of activities. We do have a very busy weekend around Roswell and the surrounding areas. Of course, the golf tournament, the Roswell Honda charity golf tournament, going to be going down this weekend at the Nancy Lopez Golf Course. If you haven't already signed up, or if you're going to be a part of that, get ready to get your game on, because it's 2 days of nonstop action. We'll be out there along my sister station, 92.9 The Brand, along with La Pantera 106.1 FM. We'll be broadcasting live starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So come on out and join us. Look for the big blue, new and improved brand wagon. We've gotten a little slapped a paint job on the thing, and she's looking pretty sexy. Talking about the boombox, not myself. But that being said, hopefully your weekend ahead is going to be a fulfilling one. We do have a very long interview we got to get to first things first in this 7 o'clock hour. So with that in mind, let me give you the rundown for this morning's festivities. Kicking things off here in the 7 o'clock hour. Now, the event happened a couple of days ago, but the story itself is one that I feel should have as much coverage as possible. So we're going to replay the interview that Mike had on Wednesday, I believe it was, with Joey Lopez and Alma Martinez, along with the Every 15 Minutes program. And Joey kind of retells his story, and they get really in-depth with kind of the aftermath of where we go from here, so to speak. So we'll replay that coming up here in just a few minutes. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we have the Sheriff's Department schedule, but we're not 100% sure if they're going to make it in. So if not, we do have a backup in place there for the Sheriff's Department. But hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with Sheriff Mike Harrington, possibly Under Sheriff Charles Eastlis with the Travis County Sheriff's Department coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. In the 9 o'clock hour, we have scheduled the District Attorney's Office. Could be Hunter, could be any of the fine district attorneys. And we'll sit down, chit-chat with them, and get to the nuts and bolts of what the District Attorney's Office is, what they do for you, and how they do it every single day. So There you go, full morning plus all of your other, things which include the Kim Commando update, your Sean Hannity report, business reports, and all whatever else comes our way on this finally Friday. With that in mind, let us now at 10 minutes after 7 o'clock take a quick check of the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks pretty good today. Light wind and sunny skies will be up around the 90-degree mark. Then tonight we have cold front dropping in, and that'll hang around for a while, so we could see some showers. Our overnight low in the upper 50s, and then we've got a pretty good chance of showers and a few thunderstorms on Saturday. We'll stay at about 80. Maybe a shower Saturday night, clearing up on Sunday and 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices,
to heal
Roswell
properly.
Ford is lowering
At
ours
Artesia General
with employee
Hospital's
pricing
Wound
for
Care
everyone.
and
So you
Hyperbaric
pay what we
Medicine
pay,
Center,
only
we
at
use
Roswell Ford
advanced
with no
treatments
payments
like
for 90
hyperbaric
days.
oxygen
Upside down in
therapy
your
to
current
help
vehicle
chronic
and
wounds
walk out
heal
early.
faster.
Roswell Ford can
If
help
you
you
or
get
a
out of
loved
your trade. Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay, only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and walk out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone, get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in month's end.
Some wounds need expert care to heal properly. At Artesia General Hospital's Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center, we use advanced treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help chronic wounds heal faster. If you or a loved one has a wound that won't heal, call 575-736-8235 today and take the first step toward recovery.
The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to Smart Home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber-to-home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true. Trusted.
Step up to the plate and save at Roswell Honda. Now through the end of the month, the bases are loaded with savings, so you can score a home run and drive home a winner. Like 2.99% APR for 48 months on new Honda HRVs, 2.99% for 36 months on new Pilot, or 1.99% for 36 months on new Honda Ridgeline. Plus, major league savings across the lot on a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. Step up to the plate and drive it home. Now through the end of the month at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
You are 13.8% more likely to die on your birthday. Think about that the next time you want to celebrate your birthday month. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us in studio this morning, Joey Lopez and good morning. It is 16 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Joey Lopez and his mother, Alma Martinez. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Thank you. First off, thank you so much for coming in and I know your family, and of course the Azuas, you guys have been through so much, but you don't. And I want to start before we talk about anything. I'm so in awe of what you guys are doing here, because I'm going to take a stab. Probably one of the hardest things anyone's ever do in their life is having to deal with the recourses of a mistake, and for anything what's going on today and the emotions. I want to start off, but thank you so much for what you and your family and the Azua family. Despite the tragedy here, you're making the best out of it as humanly possible. And that's all we can ask for something like this. And so before we talk about everything, thank you guys. Thank you and your family. I have so much respect for what you guys are doing, and it's so not easy, and I'm just so thankful that you guys are doing this. So thank you so much, first off, before we talk anything about this. So. But first off, before we talk the family stuff, how, in the every 15 minute stuff, how did you and your family, did you reach out to Diane, or Diane reach out to say, you know what, this is something, because I imagine, you're not ready to volunteer. Hey, let's run out and tell her, you know what I mean? How did you first come to be a part of the every 15 minutes program today?
So actually Ben, which he's
Orozco's his last name.
Ben Orozco, he's I don't know if, or he was a pro officer. I don't know what he is now. I know he moved up, and he had told me he knew someone that I could work with and would help me out. And
so this is kind of like part of a chance kind of thing. They're saying, rather than you sit in jail for something that you already clearly are remorseful for, let's turn this into a positive. And they're saying, so that's kind of where it's an opportunity kind of thing.
Well, I didn't meet her. I did go to prison, so I didn't meet her like before, but after I started looking to what things that I can help me out, and that's where I met her. I reached out to her. She said, yeah, we can meet, and then we met, and ever since then, she's been a big blessing in my life, and she's really helped me put things into a different perspective. For
sure. Well, and this is the thing that, that's so, Andy, your family, this is not the plans. This was not, you're coming out of high school football. You have a great there's so many, the goals and things. So I'm very curious, is your goals and dreams prior to 2021 were different than they are now here today. How is that? Like, how are you and your family looking at today now? Because you're a young man. You've got a whole life ahead of you. And please, God, don't make this what defines you. You know what I'm saying? So what's your path now? Where do you, because and this is the heart I hope you and your family heal is yes, you're going to live with this the rest of your life, but at the same time, it should not define you in your life. You know what I'm saying? You at some point we have to forgive and move on. And and from what it sounds like the families are in a good place doing that kind of thing. However, you're a young man in your 50s. You want, you're going to be with your own kids and grandkids and living. So for you personally and your family, how are you guys picking up the pieces to move on? Because it's not fair to you to dwell the rest of your life on this. And I know you're going to want to and feel it, but you're entitled to having a good life too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I hope to God, and I know now I'm preaching, but I hope that you guys at some point in your life can find that peace to have your, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So for you, is there a plan? Like, what have you even thought that far yet?
I would like to mention another, because there was another person in the wreck. Mm-hmm. My friend J. Ray.
Okay. And we don't. Yeah. So please, I'm not very familiar. I just knew you and Andy were involved.
No, and he was in there as well, and I would like to mention him and then his family as well, because they go through things.
They were there dealing with it too.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, they deal with everything that we deal with, But
well, and this is something that, and you explain it in the video, and we played the video, and we'll try to get it in here, and we'll put a link for folks to, because Joey, that's the best. You did a very great job of explaining that, and I don't want to make you go through that 3 times to explain all that. Go watch this video. Yeah. But that's something that you very clearly state in the video is all 3 of you were partying. Mm-hmm. You just happen to be the guy behind the wheel. So, and this is where, and I think this is where the families have come to say, look, this was, yes, you're taking all the heat because you were behind the wheel. But this was a group. All 3 of you made poor choices that day, mm-hmm. I'm going to say. And I'm not trying to place blames or anything else, but that's where we want to remind folks that, it's, you just happen to be the unlucky person behind the wheel. It could, I'm taking a stab, it could have been Andy or anyone that could have been behind the wheel. But either way, none of y'all should have been behind. And that's kind of the lesson we want to, when we talk about this stuff is none of y'all plan to do that. None of y'all, and I'm sure none of y'all, and that's you are because I'm going to take a stab prior to that, you were like everybody else. That never happens to us. That happens to other people. That's, you see it all the time. I'm going to take, maybe even went through an every 15 minutes program at some point in your school career or anything like it, but you still don't, it's always somebody else.
Yeah.
And so, for you guys, and I'm very curious, and if you don't, because thank God you guys are, as a family, healing and all that, but what kind of impact did that have? I mean, was there a point where the families were adversarial here, or was it pretty much love the whole time? I mean, within reason, you know what I'm saying.
No, so I mean, I don't know exactly how what they go through every single day.
Sure.
So I do believe that, there's some days where, they wake up
Sure.
mad,
Well, as a mom, last thing you want to do is outlive your kids. That's not supposed to happen. No parents are supposed to outlive their kids. That's wrong. And when that happens, and I'm going to take a stab. Yes, they probably forgive you and love you and everything else. But yes, they are grieving people. Their parents, they lost their son.
Exactly.
And from my understanding, Andy has a child as well too. So now that child lost a dad, and that's what you're living with. And I know it tears you up every day. I just hope there's that place where it doesn't hurt so much anymore, where there's, and I just was curious because of your closeness with Andy, and I'm going to take a guess that you probably feel like you want to take a little ownership in helping raise his son a little bit. I'm gonna just, you know what I mean? I guess I got the feeling you're like, I want to be involved in this kid's life some way, shape, or form, right?
Yes, I do want to be involved, and I do speak to him, and I just don't want to cross a boundary.
I can understand that. Yeah, you don't want to, but at the same time, because it really is like you guys, y'all were thick, right? As family, like together, y'all did everything together. If there's a picnic, party, cookout, whatever, family, Easter, whatever it is, you guys are hooking up together as families. And when something like that happens, but then again, that same strength is what's gonna help. Like, I'm so glad that despite, there's always gonna be. You can't avoid that. It's just human nature. But the fact that everyone is helping each other, and I hope that's what makes the family stronger. Like what's going to make your life all right and what's going to make your life, and everyone's involved, is the fact that it's about the love and it's about the understanding. And like you said, it's a mistake. This is a mistake. No one came in that day saying one of us is not coming home today.
Right.
No one ever did that. And it's so great that as a family, it's hard to understand that, but you learn that. And so I just praying, for more peace for you guys and all this stuff and dealing with it. But has it gotten easier at all? Now it's been, about 4 years now? It was 2021 when in Rio Doce when 4 years down the road, yes. I'm sure you wake up every day living with this stuff, but are your days getting better? Are you getting, because I'm going to take a stab, and if I'm wrong, please tell me, but there's probably days where you're feeling like, what's the point? I've kind of, you know what I'm saying? And are those days getting less? Are you seeing light for you and your family?
I see light. Me personally, I see light, but I would say, before all this happened, I don't know what direction I was heading. My life has changed a lot. I have 2 kids now. So I live in a way like I can't dwell, but I think about it every day. Yes. Do I have my bad days? Yes.
But you see a future now.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to take another stab. The fact that you have kids, now you're a parent. Your priorities change.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm going to take a stab that your kids you're going to make darn sure that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to be like, look, I made the mistake.
Yeah.
You will not make this mistake. And I will, you might even get a little helicopter parent over that one. I'm going to take a stab. If you don't mind, I want to get your reaction to this a little bit, because if you watch the video and please, if you don't feel comfortable, I don't want to, evoke anything, but I would like to get, what you're thinking. How do you react when you get that phone call from your son saying, I've been in an accident? How does that, I mean, and at that point, you don't even know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what's the first visceral reaction for you and your family when you're getting the first words of this happening?
Well, the phone call came from him,
mm-hmm.
But he was a weak voice. And, of course, that's the phone call no parent wants to ever get.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely not. My first reaction was, because he couldn't really speak and tell me much. So one of the EMTs, I guess, got the phone.
One of the medical people.
Yeah, got the phone. And my first reaction was, are the boys okay? I knew it was a group of them. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know who was with who.
And at this point, you weren't even sure the details.
And so, but my first reaction was, are all the boys okay? I mean, you're telling me mine's stable, but they don't know the extent of his injuries. Mm-hmm. They're just telling me he's going to get flown out. So I asked for the other boys, and at that point, I didn't even know who was in the vehicle with him. But they wouldn't give me information.
Yeah, because you weren't immediate family.
Well, they asked me if I was a parent to them, and
might as well be.
Well, my thought, I said, well, yeah. I mean, that's exactly how I felt.
I'm not by blood, but by everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't tell me information. Yeah. So, I mean, but that is, I mean, and honestly, my day that day, I think I was more shocked.
Sure.
I don't think I cried right away. My mind just kept playing, what's going on, because at that point, I didn't know how stable or critical he was.
Sure. You're just you're hoping everybody's alive at this point. You're not worried.
Exactly.
But once the details of the thing going down, what's kind of, was it always are you the one that have to break the news to Andy's family that's going on?
No.
Or they
Actually, when I was at the hospital already, and I finally got to see him, and I saw how hurt he was, and then we noticed J-Ray got flown in in El Paso around the same time. Sandy gave me the call and actually told me her son didn't make it. So she called me to check on my son, and also let me know that her son didn't make it.
Oh man.
So she's the one. Yeah, that's.
So are you the one that has to tell Joey?
Well, it took us the time. The doctors told them to tell him anything yet, just because of the situation.
Sure, they want to make sure he gets through his medical, and then when he's stable enough, then we'll get him.
Because at that point, they didn't even know his internal damages or anything like that.
There's still a lot of assessing.
Mm-hmm. So we were told to wait. He did keep asking. He asked all night. He asked right away. He kept asking all the time, and it was hard. I think sister is the one that
finally said. And I'm going to take a stab, Joey, that the fact that no one's telling you nothing is doing nothing but making it worse in your head.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I kept asking. The first thing in my head, I mean, I remember when I woke up in the truck, I said, where are my friends? As soon as I got to the hospital, where are my friends? When I was more stable, I said, they told me, hey, Jerry's here in another room. And then I kept saying, okay, where's Andy? Why are we not hearing nothing? I started putting things together in my head, and I kind of kept telling them, you guys aren't telling me something.
Sure. You're like, I'm not stupid.
I said, you guys aren't telling me something. Yeah. And they were like, no, we don't know how he's doing. And I'm like, okay, well, no news maybe is good news.
For a minute, you're like, maybe I can spin this by you. Maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
And then you find out.
No sense of, I was hoping everything is okay. But they kept telling me, well, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. I'm like, well, why do we not know?
So I'm very curious at this point. When does the legal side come in? When do they start telling you, you know what, you're going to jail for this? And so, I mean, was that after all the medical stuff, or were you still in the hospital and they said, as soon as you're healthy here, you're going? How did that play out?
So the cops came in while I was in the hospital.
Okay.
They read me my rights, I think, and then I just told them I wanted a lawyer.
Okay.
And then once I got cleared from the hospital, I got a letter from the doctors, from the
police department.
Yeah, for a warrant for my arrest. And then I got home from work one day, and I guess there were some detectives around the house, and cars that didn't look like cop cars. Obviously, I don't know if they thought I was gonna run or something.
Sure.
But we called them like, hey, I'll just turn myself in. I'm not running,
Well, police always always go with an overabundance of caution. That's how they roll.
So I was like, "What's up with all this? I'm not trying to run or nothing.
Sure.
If I would have known, I would have."
And it makes you a little scared, like, man, what what am I about to do? They're gonna haul me away right now?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
So once we found out, we went straight to the police department and turned myself in.
And for that, and I'm assuming that's the first time you ever spent time in a jail or anything like that. What's going through your head when that's going on? Where you're sitting, like, I saw the video and you're kind of, like you said, you're just thinking about Andy and what's going on. But at the same time, when you're sitting there, that's gotta be a moment when you're sitting there and you're like, look, I'm in the jail cell now. What's kind of your reactions there? What are you thinking?
My son was born already. He was 10 months when I went to prison. So, a big thing was him. I'm sitting there thinking about, in the video I said I think about Andy because for some reason he was heavy on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And once that kind of passed over, I'm thinking about my family. And I'm like, I'm leaving my son, like.
I'm shirking responsibility here.
Responsibility.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm insulin dependent. I'm like, how are they going to.
So you're doing like my own medical stuff and everything else. Wow.
So as soon as I get there and they put me in the cell, I remember I had to use the restroom. And I got up to open the door and I'm like, oh crap.
Well, I remember it's like because of like TV shows and they're like, you need to go and then usually the toilet's right there. And you're like, what are you waiting for, bud?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was the restroom was in there. So I don't know what I had to do when I tried to walk out then. And I couldn't, and I was like, "Oh man!"
That's when they find for shit. You're like, "Oh, I'm incarcerated.
Yeah.
I don't get to just go." Yeah.
And then after that is when my head started spinning. It started going, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna try and go to sleep, but you can't." And that was jail. That was county.
And you got nothing but time on your hands.
Nothing but time. I read 10 books 11 books in less than in a book a day, basically, because.
And I'm gonna take a stab. They weren't like books like they're just whatever's at the jail there. So
it wasn't a book.
Could be a Harley Quinn romance novel. Could be the life and times of somebody you never heard of. Who knows?
Well, it wasn't even a book I pick. I would just ask for a book. I was like, "Can you give me a book?" And they just throw me whatever.
Yeah, something to read, something to occupy time, and so how long were you in before they find you? I guess bonded out or whatever. There was you a day or two, a couple weeks. How were you?
No, not
hours,
minutes.
Okay, so it wasn't even that long.
Yeah.
Well, that's society. That's the way it works nowadays with the.
Well, they were pretty good when they were gonna arrest him. They let me know.
The
situation.
Well, yeah. Now the fact, that you came in voluntarily and everything, it was just a matter of going through the process.
They let me go ahead and get. I already had a bond for him.
Gotcha. So you had to get booked in and fingerprinted, pictured, and all that good stuff.
He's talking about when he actually went to prison after.
Later on with the sentencing and everything else, because you. Now, if I remember right in the video, it was 18 years is what they sentenced you to?
Yes. So I was looking at 18 years, or they sentenced me to 18 years technically. And, of course, suspended time. And then I got 2 years in prison, but I cut it in half time.
Okay.
So
now,
a year.
Just curious, when they send you to prison, like you're not at county jail, right? You go to a full-time, like, and I'm not too knowledgeable, but like if you're in jail for less than a year, you're in jail.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go one above that, you're going to a prison facility kind of place. So I'm going to take a stab. They sent you to a prison facility, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had to go to county and wait for transportation.
Gotcha.
But yes, I went to prison. I started in Los Lunas, is where they classify you.
Okay.
Against your charges and past charges.
And I'm not sure for sure, but I'm going to take a stab that prison life is not the same as jail life.
No.
Like those folks are in there for a while, and there's a different mindset. There's a different. Where jail, everyone's hoping to get out in a week or two, or a month, or tomorrow, or whatever it is. People in prison, they're there for a minute.
Yes, sir.
So that's a different lifestyle. Probably even a different handle your business a different way.
Oh yeah.
In prison than you would say in the jail, in the county jail, or whatever. So what was that experience like for you?
I mean, prison is prison. It's I would say.
Is it like on TV where they literally it's racially charged and you're like, hey, you stay with your own people kind of mindset? Was it like that or is it different?
state prison is not racially. Most of that is federal.
Okay.
But state prison is run with your city or where you're from.
Okay.
But I didn't. I stick to my own. You know, I was trying to. They were recruit me, and they call it down south, which is this side. You know, and they have up north and.
Gotcha. Yeah, people don't realize there's a whole hierarchy in there and everything else, and if you're not part of that thing, prison life is not going to be great.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they tried to recruit me, and I told them no, I'm gonna do my own thing. They're like, well.
And you're able to.
Yeah, you're able to.
Like I said, I'm sorry. All I got is TV experience, and usually you say no, they send people.
No, you're able to. I mean, they never sent people for me. And if they did, you know, I would stand up for myself. But and that's the point. You know, you're able to if you can stand up for yourself. If you can deal with your own problems yourself. And that's what I told him. I said, I don't.
So do you have to get hard? Like was your mindset? I got to get hard if I'm going to survive this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought I was always pretty tough, you know, and I get in there and I was like, I was scared, you know, I'm not going to lie. I'm scared. I was scared, but I was like, don't show it and, you know, be a man, deal with it.
And let's face it, you're an athletic dude. You know, you're strapping and I'm going to take a stab. Someone looks at you and said, I'm going to make a reputation off that kid. You know what I mean? They look at you and say, if I can take that, you know, it's all about looks. And you look like you can handle yourself. So someone's going to try to come at you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
There's that mindset in prison. And sounds like you were able to avoid most of that.
Yeah, I did my own thing. I didn't mess with none of that. You know, actually, county, the first time you stepped into county is what they call a heart check.
Okay.
And that's where someone's going to test you. Yeah. You know,
did you get any warning on that, or did you learn it on the fly?
I learned it on the fly.
Okay. I didn't know.
I saw it happen to someone else, and I was like, okay,
sure. I didn't know if you knew someone that maybe kind of been down that path and gave you some advice or anything.
I met someone in county when I was because it was COVID time.
Yeah.
We had to do quarantine.
So you were doing all kinds of weird protocol things in there. Yeah.
And I met someone in there who kind of told me about the ropes, you know, that had already been in prison and been in that county. So.
Sure. So you said total time was about a year you spent
yes,
after all said and done, and then and your kind of sentences, and this is part of what you're doing now is part of all that stuff, which to me is smart. I mean, let's face it. I don't see sitting you in prison for 18 years is going to solve anything. You know what I mean? That doesn't. It's just going to make you worse, institutionalize you, probably turn you into something worse than you are now. And nothing's left unlearned. Where at least with this, you get to come out, you share your stories, and people heal. People, and you heal, and that's the important thing too. And all of this stuff and the tragedy, and we're gonna miss Andy for the rest of our lives and all of this stuff. But you gotta remember, you're a young man. You get this should not be what defines you, and you get to do that. And so I'm so glad that you end up just doing a year and you're doing, and I know today this don't feel like a good thing, and because no one wants to share their own tragedies over and over again. But
yes, sir.
Please take comfort as a family in knowing that I'm hoping you guys talking today and everything else you've been doing and will continue to do is going to prevent families from dealing with you guys are dealing with. And I'm going to take another stab that if it was lesser families, I don't know if you'd come through on this. I think the strength that the fact that you guys have so much love for each other and the families are so intertwined, and even after tragedy, you still have the love. That's all that matters, man. That's what's going to get you guys through this. That's what's going to make this okay at the end of the day. And for that, I'm so happy for you guys in that aspect that I think you guys are getting another chance. And I think, Joey, just and I'm curious, what do you do for a line of work and stuff now? Do you like, what pays the bills for you?
So actually I am a salesman for an oil field company at American Safety, a sales rep. Yes, sir. And
is this something you want to keep doing? Is this like your thing, or is this to get to the next thing?
I mean, I look for opportunities every day.
Sure.
I've always had that mindset. I also have my own business, and I want to grow that.
Okay.
Hopefully, of course, I would love to just do one job. I'm technically work 2 jobs right now.
What's your business?
I have 2 dump trucks and a belly dump.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're actually working here in Roswell, help cleaning up right now.
Nice. So
Yeah.
I just got a side gig.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. So do you like own your own dump trucks and everything?
Yes, sir.
Because they ain't cheap.
No, my mom's helped me out.
So it's a family business.
Yes, sir.
I don't really deal with it. I have a lot of my own.
Right. She's like, I got no problems.
Yeah.
I'll help you here, but you better run it.
I have my own.
Do you drive and everything too? Or are you a
No,
driver?
sir.
Because
I
you just
work
run the business?
Yeah, I just run the business, and me and my cousin co-owners.
Okay.
But he drives. And
Are you allowed to drive now, or are you still at a point where you're not allowed to?
Oh, I can drive. I
Okay,
have
I didn't
an
even
interlock.
think about that.
I do have an interlock though.
Gotcha.
Yes,
So
sir.
you got to do the How long do you have to do that for?
I have 4 months left. I'll have it for 2 years.
Okay. And by the way, you had to pay for that out of your own pocket, right?
Oh, I still pay. Yes.
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. That's not like something the court issues and it's good. No, you're financially on the hook for that
Yeah.
thing as well as. And if you don't have it or don't do it, then you don't drive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I have an ankle monitor.
Yeah.
Or had. I just barely got it off not too long ago.
Wow. How long did you have to wear that?
I had it for 2 years, but since I'm a diabetic, I was able to get it off a little early.
Okay.
Because the diabetic can mess with the readings on there.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Anytime they get this high tech stuff, man, it gets.
Yeah, man.
They're gonna turn us into robots.
There was one time it was reading that I had drink alcohol, and they're like, I was like, check my driving records.
Yeah.
You know, but even dealing with stuff like that, I was like, do I need to get a lawyer because I
Sure.
do not drink?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I'm driving at this time that it's going off, so I'm breathing in this. I was like, check my driving records.
Right.
And I was glad. I was like, it's coming off at the time I'm driving.
Well, and anytime you're dealing with a disease that deals with your blood sugar,
Yeah.
and then you're measuring said thing with your blood, you know, I mean
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of room for error there, in my opinion. So, but they finally.
Yeah, I was
Good.
cleared easily with
Good.
my driving.
Once
team.
they figured it was a malfunction of the equipment.
That's when they realized like maybe we should take it off, and I got a letter from my doctor, and I was like, hey man, like I'm messing with my freedom right here.
Right.
Like,
yeah, this technicality is not the technicality
Yeah.
you need. And so, well, I'm glad you at least don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Now, and in a couple more months here, 4 months or so, and hopefully you're free of the interlock and
Yes, sir.
everything else too. But again, this is reminding me of the impact. I mean, yes, the heart of this is the loss of life and everything, but the other inconveniences you deal with to this day just because of that. And this is, again, reminding people of that impact that necessarily you don't think about here. We think about the loss of life and everything else, but man, all of your life plans are on hold for 5 years. And you're just now really starting to be able to move forward with those things. And so this is that impact. And this is why every 15 minutes is important. And this is why I'm so glad your family's doing this. Was curious for you guys for the rest of the day. Where do they have you? Are you going to be out at Hagerman at some point today? Or
I will. Yes, I'll spend all day there with them, and I'll stay the night at the hotel in Roswell.
Okay.
And in the morning we have. Well, I'll talk to the kids probably tonight, just them, and then in the morning.
You guys still live in the area and everything?
I
or?
live in Artesia, or we live in Artesia.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Still got your bulldog orange.
Oh yeah.
They have babies now coming up, so.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess your kids, future bulldogs, in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I hope so.
Are they sports junkies at all?
They're still little.
They're still
little.
One's 3, and the other one just turned 1.
All right. But are they physical? Like, do they?
Oh yeah. My oldest one, he's really stout, and I actually named him after Andy. His name's Andy.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then my youngest one, he's gonna be a rough one, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
So it might be a couple. Where you defense, offense? Where you want? I mean, you're a defensive guy.
Yeah. I hope one's a running back, but I want one of them to play defense for sure.
Yeah. Safety or linebacker.
Safety,
Someplace you can hit.
That was the best.
We have one already playing. My daughter's.
Oh yeah.
kid, yeah.
And then my sister's son.
Oh, what's she?
He's 5. He's already playing t-ball and soccer.
Okay, so he's more.
So
is he a baseball kid or is he gonna be?
Everything.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be athletic. Right now he's playing baseball, but man, he's up for anything. And I see
I
him
guess
like
depends if he feels like running, then we're gonna put him on the soccer pitch.
Yeah.
Well, his
baseball.
mom was a softball player, so.
So he's gonna be into baseball because of his
Gotcha.
mom.
Yeah. Is he a pitch? Can he pitch or?
Oh,
if his mom's a softball pitcher,
I'll
I
tell
imagine.
you this: he can hit.
She was a third
Okay.
baseman.
Yeah, he can hit right now.
Nice. Good deal. So might be a few athletes in the family here, a few Bulldogs for years to come. So
yeah, their job's to retire us. So.
See a few more. Explain it. let's talk Bulldogs real quick. Explain that feeling because Artesia is one of the more unique places to play football. What was that experience like coming to the dog pile every Friday night for you and Andy? I mean, what's that experience like? Not a lot of people get to experience that. They may see it from the stands, but they don't get to see it from your perspective.
Yeah, it was great. To be a Bulldog, it was, and not even to be a Bulldog. And I respect this a lot from Coach Henderson because he showed you he related a lot of practice to how to be a man,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coach Henderson's always, the years and the times I've interviewed him, I mean, there's a reason why he's revered in our t-shirts.
Yeah, he related a lot of practices and stuff to, like, sometimes we're going to have to push in life, and also brought people in to talk. But, back to the dog pile, for me and Andy, growing up playing, and to finally get to that spot there on varsity,
like, were you guys as kids, like, when you were kids, or maybe a little older, but looking at the Bulldogs, like, oh, that's going to be us someday. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
he moved here in like 6th grade, so
it was a little bit later.
But I honestly didn't start playing football until he moved here.
Really?
I always played soccer.
So soccer was your main.
Soccer was my sport. Well, actually, I was honestly.
Were you always kind of buff? Because I'm just saying, you look like you got a football body more than a soccer.
Yeah, I was always I was chunky when I was younger.
Well, not chunky, but yeah, you're.
No, when I was younger.
Oh, I got you. Okay,
and
no, chunky's not the word I'm using.
No. And then I started working out, and I got pretty stout. And me and Andy actually started working out, and we were always partners.
Okay.
And that's when
did y'all get big together, kind of swole together?
Yeah,
gotcha.
He did.
Y'all kind of push each other.
Oh yeah, because honestly, he was always, in my opinion, better than me. And so I always looked up to him. And
so you were kind of like trying to keep up with Andy.
Yeah, and then there was a part of I don't know what year it was, where I ended up outgrowing him, in muscle-wise, but he was always more agility. But I was chasing him, and I'd say at one point you could say that I might have passed him, but I was still chasing him because of how great I thought he was.
Right. Like, you're like, okay, I got to his level, but now he's at a different level.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were friends, but always competitive.
Sure.
We wanted to be better than each other.
Well, that's what you made each other better.
Right.
I'm going to take a stab that on the practice field, you all were pushing each other.
Oh, yeah, and he was a running back.
And so you're trying to hit him.
I'm trying to hit him. He's trying to truck me in.
Yeah.
And
he's like, I'm not going to run around you. I'm going to run through you.
No, yeah, he wasn't the type of person to run around you. He's going to run through you. And so it made me better, but it made him better too,
Sure. And iron sharpens iron, man. That's football.
And that's where we got to the level we were, becoming the...
So I got to ask this then. What's like the first championship? What was that feeling like when you get the first blue trophy as you and Andy on that team? What was that experience like?
It was great, because
Senior year.
Yeah, our senior year, and I had told myself, I am not leaving 3 years of football without one.
Especially in Artesia, it's kind of a like, oh, you were the class that didn't get one.
Yeah.
That's a big mantle they'll carry around sometimes.
And that year we went 14-1, so we should have been undefeated, but.
Funny story. So Jim Wilburn, I'm sure you're familiar.
Yes,
he called Artesia Bulldog Sports for many years. Well, he retired there around 2010-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. And for a year, me and Gene called Bulldog football. And it was the one year that Artesia was not good. They didn't make the playoffs that year. It was one of those years. It was like they lost to Deming that year, which never happened. And they blamed us like it was our fault. And the next year we got Joby and everything worked out. But there was a year there, it was me and Gene, and they literally blamed us for the Bulldogs' bad season that year.
Well, I remember having a bad year. I'm going to blame that on you guys.
Like it's Gene's and Mike's fault. They were stupid broadcast. But yeah, and that's something that people don't get unless you've been there. Is Artesia's different when it comes. I mean, yes, Roswell Coyotes and the Rockets, they celebrate championships and they do amazing things, but it's not the same as Artesia. It's when the whole town and you don't see it as much now because I think people stole all the flags. But I remember it was a sea of orange flags every Friday out there. They still do it now.
They stole our flag too.
Yeah, they kept stealing the flags.
Yes,
and that's I think it's I got a feeling Like the one in front of our station, I'm almost positive it was Goddard kids for a prep rally. They took all the flags like the year before, whatever.
Yeah.
This was years ago, but yeah, I think all the flags got stolen.
Wow,
but,
they stole ours too.
But it was a tradition there in doing that, and so that's cool that you and Andy got to kind of experience that. And to be honest, you guys are probably a little bit like rock stars in Artesia a little bit.
Yes,
you kind of
sir.
get that feeling in there, and so that's really cool.
Yeah.
But it also probably leads to what happened. And some, because when you get people always you feel indestructible, and you already feel indestructible as a teenager anyway.
Right.
You can't. But when you guys are on a platform that like you guys were, where you are in a spotlight, and people treat you different, and I'm going to even say maybe because this is something too is like, and this is something that I always wrap my head, because you guys were in Ruidoso part, how. Because you were bar hopping and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how, and this is something we need to maybe address in a bigger thing is, how did you keep getting served? Like, were you guys just cool, or were you pretty sloppy? That's where I'm trying to.
No,
like
actually,
I didn't understand how you kept getting served in public places without someone saying something.
So this happened a little bit after high school.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. So I was in college.
Sure.
And I think I had barely graduated.
But you were of age, right?
Yes, sir. We were of age.
But I'm just because even like, I'm guessing you guys weren't like to the point where you're staggering drunk and things like that, or were you? That's the part I don't get. Is like if you roll into one bar and they're supposed to not serve you.
So we thought we were good, But
Okay.
I mean, the time, because it wasn't even that late, if I'm honest, and we started early in the morning.
Gotcha.
It was a boys' trip. We're like,
Oh, yeah.
we
I get
wanted
it.
to have fun,
Indestructible. We're gonna start the day drinking and end the day drinking.
Anything we did was not right the whole day, and
it's Alpha Dog City,
right? We
I know
thought
exactly
we
what
were good,
you're
and we
talking
had
about.
other
Yeah.
friends with us, but once we got to that point, my other friends didn't want to go to the bar, and I told Andy and Jerry, they were with me. I said, "Hey, bro, I think it's time to go home."
Gotcha.
So at the same time, we were trying to do the right thing by let's just go home.
Yeah.
But
you're young and dumb in life. You want to experience more life. That's what
Yeah.
happens, man.
And still got behind the wheel, which was completely wrong no matter what, no matter who it was, I did it.
Sure. But that was just something because, and that's something that's bigger issue than what you've been talking about. It's like, maybe we need to crack down on servers and being more, I know they're doing that, but I just feel like if somebody in one of these places said something, maybe it avoided everything that happened.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to shift blame or anything else, but
Yeah,
a lot
'cause I
of
would
variables,
say-
a lot of variables. And if one of these variables was different, which happened, you wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? And that's, but it wasn't. And this is getting back to every 15 minutes again,
Right.
what we're talking about. And I'm not trying to shift blame or anything else here, but one decision that you guys made changed your whole life.
Right.
And, who knows where you, just want to take a curious, prior to 2021, what was goals and visions? Was it still the same here or was it different?
No, different. Definitely. Well, I always thought I was going to have my own business. Never knew what.
Gotcha.
I was in so many different.
That was always the goal.
That was always the goal. Real estate but I mean, actually now they're kind of, the goals are my main goals are the same, but was my drive different back then? I was young and I just wanted to chase and.
I'm going to take a stab, but whatever your plans were is with Andy, right?
Yes,
I mean, you guys were going to be a part of each other's lives till
so he was
till
an
you're gone.
electrician, and he worked for Dean's, and my main goal has always been real estate.
Gotcha.
And I was like, Andy, you're an electrician, bro. We can flip some houses.
Sure.
Kind
of start your own side business. Flipping. Yeah.
And I remember one time because my kid's mother, her dad is an electrician, and I remember I had him do some stuff I don't remember for what was. I don't know if we already had a rental house. And then he comes up to me and then he's like, "Why didn't you tell me, bro?" I was like, "Dude, honestly, I forgot you were an electrician." I was like, "Hey, but that's the goal now, And
Exactly.
it kind of snapped.
It's and we got to wrap it up. I just saw the time here,
Yes,
but I kind of want to wrap, end it on this point is, I'm so glad that, we're starting to see the phoenix rise from the ashes here a little bit. We're so thankful that you and your family and the Zua family are healing from this. And I'm so thankful that you guys are using this platform to help warn others and to hopefully avoid another family experiencing what your family has gone through. It is above and beyond the call of braveness for what you guys are doing. I'm so thankful for that. And I know at night there's still the things that haunt you guys. I hope that things like this in time make that less. I wish that for you and your whole family, and that this tragedy doesn't define the rest of everyone's lives involved in this, that you guys can move on. And I hope this is part of that healing process. So, folks, if you do get a chance to meet the family here out and about on some of this stuff, please, share, talk with them, they're here, and we're so thankful that you guys can do this. So God bless you guys and your families, and I'd hope to, come 10 years down there, we do a 10-year reunion coming down, everybody's like, oh, look, grandkid, this one's a star in college, this one's doing this, and that's what we're happy seeing. We're just seeing all these kids that are all 3 years old now talking about them, 18, 20 doing great, amazing things. That's cool. So, and who knows, maybe someday we'll see you in your business. Next thing it'll be Joey's business, and it'll just be, I know a guy could do some advertising if you need some help.
Might need some. And my mom has a restaurant too, Alma. So.
Oh yeah, Alma's is great, y'all. I've eaten at Alma's a bunch of times there in town. It's kind of hard to get a seat sometimes. I'm just saying, it's kind of
on
busy.
The weekends.
But
on the weekends for sure.
But yeah, they got great food there. It's right there in the what is that shop? It used to be next to the plateau there.
Blue Quail Shop.
Blue Quail Shop. Yeah. There it is, right there. Yeah, right. Little Caesars, all that little shopping center. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Alma's. I've eaten there a bunch of times. It's good food there. So thank you. I didn't put the Almas together until just now.
Not many do. Okay.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for spending time. Thank you for coming in early. I appreciate that. And if there's anything we can do to help you guys, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having
us. All right. It is 8:59. Let me play a quick break before news.
Cafe. Come in and enjoy a delicious variety for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Try our burritos, huevos rancheros, asado, chorizo, sausage, flantas, fajitas, chili rellenos, quesadillas, enchiladas, sopapillas, and don't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger and so much more. Everything is prepared with the finest and freshest ingredients. Ortín's Capital Cafe. Quality, value, tradition, and the most delicious New Mexican food since 1989. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th Street in Roswell.
Usually when you hear the comment that someone is aging gracefully, they're speaking about a person's physical appearance. Although that is a nice compliment, I'd rather age gracefully in my spiritual life. I want to come to the end of my life and know that even though I wasn't perfect, I'm confident that God's saving grace covers me and I'm ready to go to heaven with Him. Because of that saving grace, I want to have lived my life serving Him and serving others to the best of my ability. We all have physical and mental challenges as we age, but that doesn't stop us from serving Him or serving others. It may change how we serve, but it doesn't stop us from serving. We don't retire from our Christian life. It's never too late to start living the life God calls you to. It's never too late to accept the saving grace that God offers to all. No matter your age, no matter your abilities, come join us as we learn how to better know Jesus and make Jesus known.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Tee up for the 3rd annual Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament, Saturday and Sunday, April 26th and 27th at Spring River Golf Course in Roswell, with a double shotgun start at 7:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday. Prizes for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, as well as longest drive closest to the pin, and a Honda Civic driver and putter with a hole-in-one. Plus, free breakfast and lunch each day, and free beer. Don't forget about the Trans-Aero helicopter golf ball drop at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Proceeds this year to benefit the VFW of Roswell, providing support and resources to our local veterans of foreign wars. Sign your team up at RoswellHonda.com or find Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament on Facebook to learn more. The 3rd annual Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament, Saturday and Sunday, April 26th and 27th at the Spring River Golf Course in Roswell. Sponsored by Pepsi, Southwest Printers, Pecos Valley Broadcasting, Albertsons, Trans-Aero Medevac, ABC Distributors, and Roswell Honda. Together we play for a purpose. Together we make a difference.
A Greek-Canadian man invented the Hawaiian pizza. His name was Tex Colorado, and he was from Detroit. Here's Mike Winters.
Closing in on 8 o'clock. Got Town Hall News coming up next. Stay tuned next hour. We are scheduled to have the Sheriff's Department here on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
The great one, Mark Levin, is now in Roswell on 106.5 KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump has signed an executive order aimed at speeding up deep-sea mining of minerals crucial to the production of batteries, computer chips, and some weapon systems. Environmentalists are dismayed, but the president says the United States must wean itself from its dependence on communist China.
The White House has promised that the order will create 100,000 jobs and hundreds of billions of dollars in economic growth. But China was clearly on the mind as Mr. Trump signed the papers. It is estimated that the U.S. seafloor has 1 billion metric tons of potato-sized nodules containing nickel, manganese, and cobalt. They are critical in making electric car batteries and computer chips, and the world relies on China for them.
The BBC's Jake Kwan. Courts continue trying to derail the Trump agenda. An Obama-appointed judge is limiting the withholding of funds from public schools with DEI initiatives, while another judge blocks an executive order requiring people to prove citizenship when they sign up to vote. No breakthrough yet in the tariff standoff between Washington and Beijing. The two sides can't even agree on whether they've been holding talks. President Trump says some negotiations have taken place while China insists there have been no talks. 19-year-old man in custody in connection with a wildfire raging in New Jersey's Pine Barrens. The suspect said to have lit a pile of wooden pallets on fire and then leaving them to burn. The feds say they will seek the death penalty for Luigi Mangione, charged in the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. Mangione due in court today to enter a plea. He has previously pled not guilty to state charges in the case. Watching Wall Street this morning, stocks have been mixed. And right now, they're lower. The Dow down 125 points. The NASDAQ is off 36. The S&P down 7 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call local.
Return to Oman tomorrow. Experts on both sides will start hammering out the technical details of a possible deal. The talks seek to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of some of the crushing economic sanctions the U.S. has imposed on the Islamic Republic. President Trump repeatedly has threatened to unleash airstrikes targeting Iran's program if there is no deal. Indian officials say the army has had a brief exchange of fire with Pakistani soldiers along their highly militarized frontier in the Himalayan region of Kashmir as the nuclear-armed rivals ramped up tit-for-tat diplomatic offensive following a deadly attack on tourists in the disputed area. The report of a gunfight comes amid soaring tensions between New Delhi and Islamabad. News and analysis at townhall.com. Authorities on the Greek island of Crete have arrested 6 people allegedly involved in an antiquities smuggling operation.
The suspects were attempting to sell numerous ancient artifacts and were arrested during a police sting operation. Recovered items include 15 oil lamps, 17 figurines, ceramic vessels, and a marble sculpture of a child's head from various ancient Greek periods. All suspects face charges including criminal organization membership and violating cultural heritage protection laws. Greece continues battling the illicit antiquities trade that supplies the international black market despite strict regulations. Keith Peters, Washington.
Booths of big Chinese, German, and Japanese automakers are bustling at Shanghai's auto show. The industry keeps its sights on the wider global market, not subject to steep U.S. tariffs on imports of cars and auto parts. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The tabloid said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2, the deuce of a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy, finally Friday morning to you. Hopefully your work and or school week has been relatively successful. Now we're just smooth sailing into the weekend. And it's going to be kind of a crazy weather weekend all over the place. They're saying right now we're under a haze. I'm not sure exactly how hazy Roswell is. That being said, it's supposed to get up to the mid-80s today with a pretty good chance for some showers. Looks like later on this evening. We'll get you up to date with your weather forecast coming up here in just a few minutes on this finally Friday morning. Obviously, I am not Mixmaster Mike Winters. He is taking the day off to celebrate, to pontificate. If he's going to eat later, possibly to masticate. Let's chew. It's not anything gross about that. As he celebrates his birthday today, and happy birthday to you, Mike Winters. Hopefully you're enjoying every bit of your birthday festivities, and hopefully doing it, as comfortably as possible. I don't want to say with as few clothes as possible, but that's how I tend to find myself the most comfortable. From down to just boxers and maybe like a wife. You can't call them that anymore, can you? It's definitely not a muscle shirt. The white tank top, I guess, is what we'll call it. Yeah, I'm just so used to calling it a wife beater, but that feels very inappropriate in 2025. But just really slumming it up, and hopefully that's the look that Mixmaster Mike is achieving on this Friday morning. Hey, real quickly, I wanted to get you up to speed because, yes, it is springtime, and yes, temps are all over the place. The weather's kind of all over the place. We are all over the place, but summer will be here before you know it. And now, right now, is the time to get your swimming pool up and ready. Like I said, we're already hitting temps in the 80s, low 90s in some cases this springtime, so you know it's going to be a scorcher of a summer. Well, Mays Lumber Company in Roswell, they have everything you need. They're your BioGuard pool dealers. They deal with generators as far as like regular pool chemicals and all of the accessories that you need to test your water. And right now, through May 15th at Mays Lumber Company, you can buy $100 of BioGuard products and get $20 off in mail-in rebate. It's Mays Lumber Company, 115 West Virginia in Roswell, just behind Roswell C. Go by and see them, your official BioGuard dealer for southeastern New Mexico. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the program. Get you up to date with the weather forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Then we have scheduled the Sheriff's Department, Charles Islas, and, of course, Sheriff Mike Harrington. But we understand Roswell, it's a busy place. There's a lot going on. They may not make it in, and if that's the case, we do have a backup if we don't see the Sheriff's Department we're going to replay the interview that Mike had with Miss Amy McVeigh-Tejas, Warren Yell, and Nick Sharia from Character Counts of Chaves County. We'll replay that coming up here in just a bit if the sheriffs don't make it in. And again, we'll give them a little bit of time to get here on this finally Friday morning. You know, I stumbled on something last hour as I was just kind of scrolling through Facebook. It hit a note with me because there are certain things that, and maybe this is because I'm nearsighted, maybe it's because of my glasses, I'm not sure, but there are certain things in life that I'm not afforded because of my vision. And I think one of those big things are magic eyes. I've never in my entire life been able to make a magic eye picture work. I've tried all the methods. They say, put your nose to it and slowly back away. I was literally just sitting here in studio, touching my nose to the phone and slowly backing away. I got nothing. I'm literally Ethan Suplee's character in Mallrats. I'm staring at that picture, just staring cold at it. Some dude walks behind me and goes, "Oh, hey, look, a sailboat." Yeah, I was trying to get there, bud, but congratulations to you and your magic eyes. But yeah, that's just one of those things that I've never really been able to enjoy. The other one, and I'm kind of glad this one died a slow and painful death, is 3D. I've never been able to fully appreciate 3D. I mean, yeah, I could put the glasses over my glasses, and it kind of works. But because of my visual constraints, I could never make something like that work. So I'm not saying cry for me out there, Argentina. I'm just saying it's hard out here for a nearsighted pimp. Know what I'm saying? It's tough. Hey, real quickly, wanted to put on your radar that coming up tomorrow, it's Children's Day and the Book Day Bash happening at the Roswell Public Library. This is going to be happening tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. They're double dog daring you to come on down, join the shenanigans, and snag yourself a book. They'll be barrel busting, roping, and stirring up a whole heap of fun. So come on out, bring the kiddos tomorrow at the Roswell Public Library, 10:30 a.m. for some fun and festivities on Children's Day and the Book Day Bash. 11 minutes after 8 o'clock, let us pause and get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks pretty good today. Light wind and sunny skies will be up around the 90-degree mark. Then tonight we have cold front dropping in, and that'll hang around for a while, so we could see some showers. Our overnight low in the upper 50s, and then we've got a pretty good chance of showers and a few thunderstorms on Saturday. We'll stay at about 80. Maybe a shower Saturday night, clearing up on Sunday and 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, get this refreshed over here, 63 degrees around Roswell Way. They're calling fair skies and 63, but the humidity is creeping up. We're at 50% humidity currently. The wind speed out of the southwest at around 7 miles per hour. The barometer at about 30.01 inches. For today, mostly sunny skies. As mentioned, 88 degrees for the high. So not too shabby for your finally Friday, but get out there and enjoy it because it's going to be a bit of a crazy weekend weather-wise. If you got outdoor activities, just bear in mind weather is it's running the risk of getting inclement because where's my mouse? It all goes wonky after this evening. They're saying scattered showers and thunderstorms this evening, mostly after 3 a.m., mostly cloudy and a low of around 61 for tonight. Southeast winds 10 to 20. Chance of rain is at 30%. For your Saturday, scattered showers and thunderstorms before 9 a.m., then scattered showers between 9 a.m. and noon, then scattered showers and thunderstorms afternoon. They could have just said scattered showers. I know this is really the meteorologist's time to shine, but there we find ourselves. Partly sunny, a high of around 85 degrees, winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 miles an hour. Your chance of precipitation is at around 40%. For your Saturday night, a 20% chance of showers before midnight, partly cloudy, a low of around 57 degrees, winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour. For your Sunday, mostly sunny, a high of around 93 degrees, but the wind is going to be a-blowing. And that's going to tell the real story for your Sunday because winds are going to be coming out of the south 10 to 20 miles an hour, increasing to between 20 and 30. Winds could get as high as 40 miles an hour. So hopefully the rains that we potentially get Saturday into Saturday night and into Saturday early will tamp down some of the dust so that there's not a whole big dust bowl problem come Sunday. But that being said, Sunday night partly cloudy, 57 for the overnight low. Back at it on Monday, sunny skies, 86 degrees, sunny and 82 for your Tuesday. Then the clouds roll back in. A 20% chance of showers on Wednesday. Sunny skies, a high near 84 degrees. Any sign of the folks from the Sheriff's Department yet, Joss? No? Yes? No? Okay. No. Okay. Well, let's do this. We're going to go ahead and... they're here? Oh, okay. They are here. Cool. Neat. All right. So we have some action on this finally Friday. So let's do this. 15 minutes after 8 o'clock, we are going to pause, pay a couple bills, and after the break, we'll be sitting down chatting with the Travis County Sheriff's Department on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
The Eastern New Mexico University System is proud to present One Eastern Day, sponsored by J.P. Stone Community Bank on Thursday, May 1st from 4 to 9 p.m. on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Come join ENMU for a family fun night featuring food trucks, inflatables, info booths, and live music by Roswell's own Grupo Maldad from 7 to 9 p.m. Bring out the whole family May 1st to ENMU Roswell and join us for One Eastern Day. Visit roswell.enmu.edu for more information. Eastern New Mexico University. Student success. That's what we're about.
This is the time of year we can get all 4 seasons in just one day. Hi, this is Ben Manette from Roswell Seed Company. 1 minute you're sweating in the sun, and the next minute you've got slush in your shoes. But that's winter in Roswell, and after 127 years, we're starting to get used to it. It's too early to plant very much, but you can fertilize pecan trees, spray for dandelions, order your bees, and pick up a new seed catalog. So come see us at Roswell Seed. Like Jim Gill would say, enjoy the warm days, but don't go far from the fire.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin and Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin and Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin and Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone, get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinance to new low. Subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in month's end.
It's possible to turn peanut butter into diamonds. Peter Pan tried it with his buddy Skippy, but they couldn't do it in a jiff. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 17 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio from the Travis County Sheriff's Department, Sergeant Isaac Nava. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. Yourself?
Oh, good. I'm fair to Midland, we'll call it. This isn't my normal spot. Mixmaster Mike Winters taking his birthday off, which I didn't even know you could do that.
You know, every time that I have a birthday, I seem to be working.
Right.
It seems long hours, so
but now now that the precedent's been set, it's going to be an exciting August for me. I'm really looking forward to it.
That's good.
Absolutely. So, how are things out there in Travis County? What's the state of Travis County?
Everything is looking like it's getting back to normal. You know, it seems like this year we've had a little bit more of a dust storm than we have in the previous years. You know, it does kick up every first part of the year and whatnot, but for the most part, it seems like everything's getting back to normal. Should we say? I'm actually afraid to say normal because
I know
it's Roswell.
You never want to put it out there in the ether because what's normal for most places is not normal for Roswell.
Yeah, that is exactly right, and that's something that I experienced so far. So, but it's good. Everything's looking great. We're excited for the summer. You know, we're going into the spring. All these events that are going to be going on. You expect to kind of see us out and about. You know, whether it's here in Roswell, down in Dexter, Hagerman, even Lake Arthur. So. We're excited to be out there.
It's always great to see the sheriff's department at all these events, and they really do make their presence known. They are at many of these events.
Yes.
And I love when you guys bring out the big the big machinery to show off.
Yeah.
the Bearcat and all that. It's always exciting to see that stuff on display. But yeah, it's your ubiquitous presence is sort of what keeps Roswell feeling secure, and the fact that you guys are out there. You are a presence. You're not just lording over Roswell. You're with the people. You're in the crowds, and you're a part of the goings on. So
exactly, and that's what we like to do. We like to make our presence known, and so people see us. Whether it's just a fishing event they have going on for the kids, whether it's a field trip that they see us on, we like being out there. My deputies actually like being out there and making their presence known.
One of the things that I really appreciate about the Chaves County Sheriff's Department is there's a certain approach that is required to making a stop, making a visit, going into a situation where the first thing you need to do is you need to set the room at ease.
Yes.
And that's not always an easy situation.
Yeah, exactly.
I bring up specifically, I recently got pulled over. We won't talk about for why.
Let's not bring that up.
Let's not talk about that I missed the speed drop sign and was going a little fast heading toward the base. It's not about that. But I have a daughter who's on the spectrum.
Okay.
And she has always struggled with fire drills, shooter drills at school, but alarms, lights, sirens in general. Those things, they tend to overstimulate her. And as I was pulled over, she was in the passenger seat. And, while I was trying to kind of put her at ease, another officer came to the other window and just started talking to her.
Yeah.
And just, what's your favorite class? What grade are you in? And just lets the people know that you're not there to, bust heads or bust skulls.
Yeah.
Unless it's necessary. You're there to set the room at ease and to bring, security into the room.
And that's one of the things that I actually really enjoyed talking to kids, especially on the spectrum, so they can have a positive experience. One of the things that I've noticed is that when they have a really, really positive experience with a law enforcement officer, firefighter, EMS, it kind of sets that precedence. Okay, next time that they see them, they're going to come at ease. They're going to be at ease and be able to talk to us. And most of my deputies, they love actually being able to talk to kids that way. It's been over the last several years, there's been a large kind of push for people that, either have some sort of disability or mental illness. And we like to deal with people that way, to give that good precedence, that good vibe, to go, hey, it's perfectly fine. Everything that we're doing is part of our job,
right? And it's a thing where you kind of have to change people's minds.
Yes.
We've sort of been, for lack of a better term, brainwashed or led to believe that police presence is a certain thing. I blame the Fox network. All those years of cops really set us on a path towards not liking the badge, but you guys do an amazing job, and Sheriff Harrington specifically does a fantastic job of taking the room and saying, hold on, let me explain, and then let's go from there. And that's one of the most important things in any scenario, whether we're talking about a weather scenario, a situation involving a crime being committed or a domestic or something, is taking the room and saying, this is where we're at, now where do we go from here?
Yeah, exactly. And we actually like to explain those things at times. There are times we can't sit here and explain the situation. We can't tell you exactly what's going on. But when we get the chance to, we'll sit down with people and we'll say, this is the way we conduct business.
Right.
And the reason we conduct business is for this specific, for the safety of the people, for the safety of the children that are there, or for us to actually conduct our business.
Absolutely.
This is what we do.
Right.
And you're exactly right. People watching a lot of the cop shows and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love some of these cop shows and stuff. So, but some of the things that they see, it's very, very misconstrued. We're not that way. We're built a certain way, and we're there to deal with a certain scenario. Everybody has a job to do, and we're trying to do our job, and we're pretty good at what we do.
And what's amazing about the team, the sheriff's department, is it's a very tight team. I mean, you guys aren't super, bloated
super
with
large,
people,
big.
And yet your presence is so ubiquitous. You guys are, you're like Visa. You're everywhere we tend to be.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing thing to pull off. My boss, he for lack of a better term, he kind of gets off on doing as many projects as possible with as few people as possible. He one time got excited when he's like, we're doing remotes on all of our stations and running two football or two games simultaneously. And I've never seen the man smile bigger in my life. But I feel like you guys do the same thing, because you have like roughly, 10, 15 people in the department?
So it just, on a shift, it just varies. We can have anywhere from, from 4 individuals to, up to 8 individuals on one shift. It just depends on that day itself sometimes. But we have a pretty good size of patrol deputies. We also have, the Criminal Investigations Division. We also have the SROs, our canines and stuff. And we try to be as busy as possible, honestly, because we have a job to do. We need to not just investigate crimes, but we need to let people know that we're out there, that we're okay to talk to, that you can come up to us and have a quick conversation. Now, at times we need to cut that conversation off and head on to work and do what we do. But this is what we do, and we love doing it day in and day out. So
absolutely. Obviously, it's an interesting season we find ourselves in because there's an election coming up, potential shift in the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
How long have you been with the department, first of all, and have you ever seen a shift of the sheriffs, and what does that tend to feel like within the department?
So I've been with the sheriff's office for 6 years.
Okay.
And during that time, Sheriff Harrington has been the sheriff, and Under Sheriff Eastlis has been the undersheriff.
Sure.
And I've worked with them. They're phenomenal people that I've got a chance to work with. The way we kind of see it within the department is, no matter who's in charge at that point in time, we have a business to conduct. We have a community to serve. So however the election comes along and, whoever the people pick, we still as deputies and patrol deputies and sergeants, we still have a job. And are those people that we serve, they have an expectation. And so that's what we look for when it comes to election time. Like, we still got a job.
Just
the day
another day.
after, we have to go to job. Yeah, we have a different boss. Just like anywhere, things kind of change. New people come in and out, but we have a community to serve.
Absolutely.
And that's what we look forward to, is serving these people.
And one of the things that you touched on back there was when Sheriff Harrington stepped in and when he was elected, I saw an and I still see, because those stickers are really hard to get off. I saw an overwhelming outcry of support for Sheriff Harrington.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing thing to see. And that's not by accident.
Exactly.
It's because, Sheriff Harrington has always been a man who is with the people. He's I'm not going to make a height joke here, but he's had to look people eye to eye, in Chavez County for a number of years, and people respect that, and people, want a person who is going to be that real human being when you need somebody to talk to, but also that authority when you need somebody to step up and say, now it's time to put spurs on boots, so to speak. So that's one thing that I've always been amazed by with Sheriff Harrington, is he has a tendency to take over things. And the people have kind of spoken again. I've started seeing those stickers again popping up for Under Sheriff Eastlis, and it's really cool to see how, where it matters, the community, will step up and say, that's who I want.
And that is part of our right as Americans. That's what we want to see as deputies, what we want to see as neighbors and citizens. We want to see people out there saying, hey, this is who I vote for, regardless of who they choose, whether it's a little different than your neighbor. That is our God-given right. That is our constitutional right to go out there and say, this is the person that I want representing us. This is the person that I want out here as a sheriff, or whether it's, the mayor, or whatever it is, that is a right that we are afforded. And I think a lot of people sometimes, they take that for granted, and we're like, I'm not going to vote this time around. Well, you have a duty as a citizen of the United States, of Chavez County, to pick that person that you want to be in that position. It's very important. And I actually, believe it or not, I take that very personal, because I was naturalized as a U.S. citizen. I wasn't a U.S. citizen. I did the proper procedure and went through this citizenship. And as soon as I got the chance to vote, I took that very to heart, because it matters. Whether people believe it or not, it matters every single time that you don't vote or you vote. It's a responsibility to us.
Rush said it best. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Exactly.
Because if your voice isn't being heard, your voice isn't being heard.
Exactly.
And that's what it comes down to. So, I mean, we're coming up on the busy season. It's, obviously school's going to be wrapping up, summertime. The festival season is approaching. What's things looking like as far as schedule-wise for you guys? What do you have coming up?
So what we have coming up is pretty much us going out there. We're looking forward to some of these events like they don't have it anymore, but the hike and spike, they used to have it. So, anything that is going on in the parks, anything that they have, some at the Bitter Lakes or down in Dexter at Lake Van and stuff. Some of those events we're planning to attend there. We're planning to be there, make our presence known, and let people know, hey, you still have a sheriff's department or sheriff's office that cares, and we're going to be out there in those areas.
And of course, the Reno or the Roswell air races making their way here, starting in the summer with the qualifiers. So that's another event that the sheriff's department has a chance to kind of be out there and let people know that we're here. We're a part of the community.
Yeah, and that was something I was actually talking to the sheriff and undersheriff about. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here this morning. The undersheriff has got, believe it or not, he's actually got some a leadership course that he's teaching this morning, and then the sheriff actually got a call to be somewhere as well, so that's why they couldn't be here. But we're hoping to actually be part of that now. We understand that that's down at the base, and you have the Roswell Police Department, you have a lot of other agencies that are going to be out there as well, but we're definitely going to be out there. We enjoy a good air show as well.
Sure.
So I used to be, when I was a kid growing up around here, I used to go down there, park, as close as I could to the fence line and watch some of these planes just coming in and out. So, we still love doing those things.
Sure.
So you will see us out there and just putting it out there. If anybody's got some, I know we have a lot of people that were in law enforcement previously, and my guys like to collect those coins. So they like to trade those coins.
Sure.
So if you see them out there, ask them if they have a patch or a coin to trade, and they'll be more than happy to do that. So.
Very cool, very cool. And like any other big event with Roswell, like UFO Fest, but this specifically is going to bring a lot more people to Roswell, a lot more attention, but also a lot more chaos potential, a lot more. When enough people rub shoulders enough times, anger and emotions tend to flare up. So it's good to have the presence of, like you said, the Roswell Police Department, but obviously the Sheriff's Department as well, to kind of just keep the peace and let folks know that this is a safe zone.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly why we like to show up there. We're always doing our job. We're always doing it, even if it just seems like we're sitting down having something to eat, or that's just because we need to eat, just like anybody else. But we keep our ear out. We talk to people, and that's what you're going to see us doing out there during the summer. We're excited for the summer to come along and for these events to kind of pop up, and even last minute events. Car shows and stuff like that. We love to be out there. We love to show off our vehicles as well.
Absolutely. And y'all have quite the arsenal to show off too.
Thankfully for kudos to Lieutenant Drake, who actually was able to get us these newer units, and they look phenomenal. They look fantastic.
Have you had a chance to see those units like in action?
I actually have, and some of those lights are a little bright, but they're exactly as bright as they need to be to let the public know, hey, we're here. We're trying to get somewhere, trying to go somewhere.
Right. Get out of my way.
We're doing it as safely as possible, as it allows us to. But they're fantastic units. They look great and they perform great as well.
Yeah.
So we're excited to show some of those off as well. So don't be afraid to come up and ask, hey, can I take a picture with you in the unit? Or we're going to have a lot of people actually do that. We've had that in the last couple of years with some of the newer units. And
now, has anybody ever asked to take a picture of you inside?
They have
not them, but like get in there and let me just take a picture of you, like an action shot.
They actually have. I've actually had several, especially last couple of weeks. I think it was Goddard High School. They're like, hey, we have this thing going when we need to take pictures with first responders. Do you mind taking a picture with us? Not a problem. That's just something that we do. It's community.
You're going to show up in September on their calendar next year. Watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Just what do they call that unit? Because I keep wanting to call it like the Bearcat, or what is that?
It's they call it the MRAP.
MRAP. Yeah. But that's what I picture is just MRAP Isaac. Just on September, Mr. September, as they call him.
There you go.
So as far as recruitment goes, how are the numbers? Are you guys looking to bring anybody else on, or?
So we are still accepting applications. There are positions that always need to be filled. we're excited to include another deputy into our department that is currently at the police academy down in Hobbs.
Okay.
And our lieutenants are always looking through the applications, seeing who actually is interested in applying. Now, we do get quite a few applications. We call them back, and we're always talking with people that are interested. Anytime that we show up anywhere, for example, we showed up to the Youth Challenge Career Fair and talk to them, let them know what policing is about and what we do out there in our community. You know, some of those kids weren't from here, but they were interested. It's like they had questions, which is great. I love answering these questions.
That's one thing I really respect about the Youth Challenge program is those kids, the ones who are enrolled in that program, they do tend to have more respect for the badge, more respect for folks out here. I mean, you hear a lot more yes sir, yes ma'ams, you know, and that's not by accident. Obviously, the program instills that in them.
Right.
But my question is, do you see anybody that's in that program that has taken an interest in pursuing law enforcement as a career? Have they had a chance to talk to you about that?
Yeah, they actually have. They asked me, you know, how was your day? What's your normal day like? I kind of go, it's a little different because I'm a sergeant, but when I was a deputy, I would tell them, you know, this is what my day consisted of.
First I wake up, and then I have a piece of toast, then I brush my teeth.
Yeah, no. So tell them, you know, we just like any other team, we wake up, we gather, we talk about what we need to do, what things that we need to talk about, and then we go from there. And we help each other out when we're out there in the field. When we're at calls, we help each other out. We even sometimes request, you know, the New Mexico State Police help us out, or they ask us, hey, can you help us out with this traffic stop or with this deal, you know? So we definitely are a combined law enforcement with them, and they ask a lot of questions and to reference this, like how do you do this or how do you do that, and we give them the best answer possible, so then they know, you know, okay, this is something that I do want or don't want to do.
It's great to see the interconnectivity and the inner workings between the state police, the sheriff's department, the Roswell Police Department, that you guys work in tandem, because so often, and I know this is kind of a trope also, but so often you see, you know, those departments being at odds with each other. It's my jurisdiction, this is my area. But if you have a team that's working together, that's going to do the most good for everybody.
Yeah, we're here for the same purpose. We're here to serve the community. You know, our customers, just like everybody has a customer, we serve the people of Chavez County. Sometimes, you know, it is within Roswell. Sometimes it's within Dexter, Hagerman, or Lake Arthur, but we're still serving them. We help each other out as much as possible. We rely on each other. We call on each other when it's necessary. As a law enforcement officer, we have to be able to use the resources available to us. And at times, believe it or not, we have to call the Roswell Fire Department to assist us on certain situations because we don't have the necessary equipment to actually take care of those situations.
And you don't think about it, but Chavez County is a big area to cover, and a lot of it is very rural. A lot of it's very, you know, like some space between houses. So obviously, you know, it stretches, you know, resources thin.
Yeah, 6,075 square miles. That is a lot of area to cover. But with, you know, we do the best we can with what we have.
Right.
We go all the way down to Duncan. We patrol those areas as well during hunting season, even before then. We're in those areas, those rural areas. That's why, you know, they moved us into the trucks and stuff. Is we need to get to some of these places that smaller vehicles can't, you know, smaller cars cannot. So we're out there as much as we can, whether it's the highway or whether it's just a 2-track road that leads to some gate and somebody needs help out there. We do the best we can with what we have, and we're out there. And you know what? If we need to get down from our patrol vehicle and start walking, we will do that.
Maybe it's the fact that I've seen too many of those, like The Hills Have Eyes movies, but there's that moment, if you're out there in the middle of nowhere and something happens, there's that moment just after, you know, where you're just like, I have nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. And so when you call on the sheriff's department or you call on the police department, you know it's going to be a long time before there's somebody who's able to get there. But it's good to know that there's units that are close by so that everybody's covered and within reason.
We love going
reasonable
out there.
time.
We love going out there. I love going out into the middle of nowhere. If you tell me there's a place that I haven't been to, I'm gonna say, okay, I will find that place. I'm gonna go out there. You know, the night itself, just because it's dark, doesn't mean that it's a scary place for us. We love being out there.
Well, says you. You got a gun on you. I'm just saying. I mean, I've been out there with just literally dressed like this.
Yeah.
That's screaming. Come, take advantage. But
into the unknown in places out in Chaves County. That's where we like going. It's part of our jurisdiction. It's part of the place that I grew up around and near, and some of those areas are very well known. Some of the areas are somewhat unknown, but we go out there and we try to do some good out there.
I've likened it to in the past, like if you've ever played like Grand Theft Auto or no offense,
no,
but
if
you go to
let me guess, you were the criminal the whole entire time, right?
I tried to play the cop, but they wouldn't hire me. But if you go to certain places in the game that you haven't been, you've unlocked those areas, and that's kind of what it's like in Chaves County. There's whole areas of this, my home space that I've never even seen before.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually. There's a lot of people in Roswell that are like that. It's perfectly fine to stay within the city limits, and perfectly fine, even be on the outskirts. But there's a lot of beautiful area out there. There's tons of places to go hiking. Now, be careful where you go. There are, for the most part, our ranchers out here. They're very friendly and whatnot, but try not to trespass in those areas because we will get calls out there. If you need to make contact with some of those ranchers, their phones are listed. For the most part, you can search anywhere on the internet pretty much. But every now and then we do get calls. Hey, there's somebody out here that is driving around or walking around.
And I'm sure a lot of that comes from not knowing where property lines start and end if somebody's out doing a hunt. You wander a couple of steps onto somebody's property, and next thing you know, things can get ugly.
Yeah.
Calmer heads don't.
For the most part, the ranchers call us up and they say, "Hey, there's somebody out here that we don't know."
Right.
A lot of these ranchers know the neighbors, know the people that go out there, but we'll get calls out there, and usually what it is I just try to do some stargazing out here, and I'm lost.
Right.
I'm not sure where everything's at. It's dark out here, but that's where we like.
You know what's really cool is, and I know I sound like old man here, but there's an app on your phone, the thing where you point it up and it tells you all the different constellations.
Yeah.
I imagine when you're spending that much time out in county, where there's not a lot of lights, the stargazing opportunities just have to be fantastic.
Are you kidding me? There's areas out there. There's beautiful. You'll be up at a top point of a hill and look down. You see Roswell. And you're like, man, that is so nice. And then you'll be able to see Dexter and Hagerman out in the distance, and then look straight up, and there it is. Those stars are just so beautiful out there.
There's a spot, and I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. But there's a spot in like central New Mexico that they say is the darkest spot in the continental United States at night, and has the best stargazing opportunities. It's like 3 hours away. I've been dying. I think it's near Corona.
Okay,
is what I heard. So it's in that region. But I'm dying to get up there and check it out because New Mexico, we're blessed with having some beautiful sunsets, amazing sunrises, but also really clear nights.
Yeah, exactly. And I've never actually heard of this place. Now I'm very interested in going to see where this place actually is. Again, it's one of those things where we're not very fearful of the night. It's just we've become to, what does that say? There's a poem, but I forget who wrote it. We've become how does it go? We've become too. Now it just skips my mind. But we're not very fearful of the night because of how beautiful the night sky is.
Sure.
So there's a lot of places here in Chaves County that are pretty awesome as well. So.
Where do you find yourself spending the most of your time in a shift? And I don't mean like geographically, but like in the county, in the city limits, and where do you spend the majority of your time?
Most of the majority of the time I spend out in the county.
Out in county.
There are tons of roads out there that kind of connect each other, and that's where I like to be. That's where we find somebody just kind of walking around going, hey, I think I got lost a little bit, or they say, nope, I live right down the road over here, just taking a walk, making contact with people, searching some of those roads. Some of those roads, every now and then, we'll find a vehicle that has been stolen and we'll recover for the victim.
Sure.
So that's part of our job that we have to do.
That's the problem when you have so much desert. Things tend to get dumped out there.
Exactly.
We got what we need out of it, so let's just put it over here. Especially after the floods, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that just ended up in county.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys ran into a lot of situations where you were just doing kind of scavenger hunts, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much. So after the flood, there was several vehicles that were actually washed away from some hunters over to the east of Chaves County, and somebody called in 3 months later saying, "Hey, there's a vehicle that might have been dumped out here." Now, in order for us to get out there, we had to literally take a 2-track road, get off, walk about 3 miles, and get to that vehicle.
Wow!
Come to find out that vehicle was actually washed away during the flood. We contacted the owners, let them know that we found the vehicle. By that point, they said, "We've already filed something through our insurance, and they've totaled it out." So we do run into those situations, where somebody just had a vehicle washed away. Then we run into other situations where there was a vehicle that was actually just kind of dumped out there, But that's part of our job that we go out there and do. We go out there, look for the things that people tend not to look for, and we try to find them as best as possible. Sometimes we're reluctant in trying to find these things, but that's just us. That's because we're built that way.
Right. But also, humans. And sometimes you can't, again, with the size of the team, with the amount of space we live in, sometimes things can't be recovered, and you have to kind of cut your losses in those situations. But you guys do an amazing job of running through your resources until something's found.
We've worked with the Bureau of Land Management and trying to find people and things that have been stolen. Just like I mentioned earlier, we work in tangent with other agencies, not just here in Roswell, but within the state. We've worked with the livestock board as well to find animals that have kind of been out there and we don't know who they belong to. We've worked state police trying to locate a certain individual that was out in the middle of nowhere. We know exactly where they're at, and just by description. That was one thing that early on that I was really amazed is one of the sergeants that actually trained me. He said, "We'll find out where this lady's at. We'll see what she sees." And she described what I would say was very minimal landscape. She said there's it looks like there's a windmill, and there's a haystack here, and it's kind of on top of a hill. And that sergeant looked at me and goes, "Oh, I know exactly where that's at."
That's amazing. And that comes from, again, that unlocking the video game. Years of just being out in every corner of Chaves County to where you learn the landscape.
Yeah, exactly. And it was literally the corner of Chaves County over to the northeast. But he had been out there a couple of times, and he knew exactly where he was at just from her description. She had no idea where she was. She had just taken a road just to do some sightseeing. It got dark really quick, and she couldn't find that road. But he knew exactly where she was at.
That is amazing. And that's testament to the passion that the sheriff's department has for the job that you guys are doing. It's not just a job. It's you guys are passionate about the people and about helping out and being a part of the community. And that's absolutely respectable.
And we love going, like I said, we love talking with the community. They help us out a lot. We've become aware of situations that we had no idea because the community is our eyes and ears to what's going on out there.
No, I imagine you get on first name basis with a whole lot of people out there.
We do, actually. So especially the ranchers out there, we love talking to them, and we let them know, hey, we're going to be going through your land just to get to a certain place, and they're more than happy to say, yeah, not a problem. So first name basis, it comes a long way. So
absolutely, it's just more testament to the being a part of the people. Well, if folks want more information about the sheriff's department, if they want to maybe consider a career in law enforcement, how do they go about that process?
Yeah, sure. Just there's a couple of ways to do that. If you're interested in law enforcement and want to kind of find out what the sheriff's office does, now we don't just do patrol and investigations. We deal with the courts and the civil process of that. They can come down and talk with the sheriff or talk with the undersheriff or even one of the lieutenants and see what we actually do. To actually apply, there's a process at the Chaves County Sheriff's Office website or the Chaves County website itself to apply for a job, and they'll post any openings that they have, whether it's with the sheriff's office or the county or even the detention center.
And there's clerical stuff too. I mean, you guys need desk jockeys.
So yes, we do. They make our jobs very, very, very simple sometimes. Well,
2 days ago it was Administrative Professionals Day. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Give it up for those folks.
Big
out there.
hand to them.
But yeah, so just start the process, and then obviously there'll be some testing if you want to pursue the enforcement side of things, and then if all that comes together, it's off to police academy. Or?
Yeah. So pretty much as soon as we get done with all that process, the testing and whatnot, there are some interviews as well that are conducted. As soon as we see that they're a fit, or they decide that they're a fit for our department, then at that point there's a small training phase before they go to the department. We try to get them ready as much as possible,
Sure.
whether it's physically get them through what they need to get through. There are challenges that we all have. So getting them physically fit, ready for the academy itself, and then teaching them about the state statutes and laws and policies and stuff. And then during that time, they'll be learning those things, and then off to the police academy at that point.
Because I imagine, you have to be sort of encyclopedic with your knowledge of codes and stuff like that to really get a handle on things.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn. I've been with the sheriff's office 6 years. I don't know everything.
Sure.
I'll admit that, but I know a lot. From where I started, and now some of these newer recruits are coming along. We're teaching them the best we can to prepare them. Now it'll be up to that recruit to learn those things,
Right.
retain those things, because those are the things that are important. When I'm talking to an individual, I need to be able to recall their story about what happened for those events. So it's really important that they're able to grasp the concept of retaining that
Actively
information.
listening. Sure.
Exactly.
Sure.
So,
and that's a skill that not a lot of people have. It's one of those things that most people are just waiting for their next chance to talk. But if you take the time and actually listen to what a person is saying, you can really paint a picture of what happened.
They will tell you exactly what happened without them actually telling you what happened. The events themselves and just investigating it. And that's what we tell our recruits. We get them prepared as best as possible. And then once once that academic class comes up, we send them off to that academy. But before that, we train them the best we can, so then they're prepared for that academy.
And like you said, all you can do is provide the best information.
Yes.
And if a recruit chooses to utilize that information, then great. If
Yeah.
not, that's up to them.
Yeah.
You sink or swim on your own, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Or float in my case. So
Yeah.
I love to float.
Nah, dude, floating's the best. So folks want to learn more about the Travis County Sheriff's Department. Who do they need to give a call? Do they just look for you guys on the streets, wave you down?
Exactly. Just look for us. Go to our Facebook web page. You'll see a lot of information that the sheriff, undersheriff have posted there. Come down to the sheriff's office, talk with the sheriff or undersheriff, or even one of the lieutenants, and look for us on Facebook. And we'll give as much information as possible.
Very good. Sergeant Isaac Nava, thank you so much for your service. Thank you guys for keeping
Appreciate
the
it.
streets safe and the county keeping it clean. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
All that
not
you
a
guys do.
problem.
Thank you very much. 8 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Let us pause and get you up to date with the local news.
Now for your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Sorello. A free in-person car seat fitting station is happening today from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Tadpoles Daycare, 2205 North Atkinson in Roswell. The car seat fitting station provides parents and caregivers with instructions on the proper selection, installation, and use of their car seats from nationally certified child passenger safety technicians. To be considered for a seat replacement, the child must be present. A $35 seat replacement fee may also apply. Car seat inspections are first come, first served. Appointments are not necessary. To participate in the car seat fitting station, parents and caregivers should bring their car seat manual, vehicle manual, and the child should be present. And a reminder, there is a pop-up food distribution event happening in Artesia on Saturday. The event at the Bulldog Bowl starting at 10 a.m. Community members seeking to receive food assistance do not need to register in advance, and you do not need to bring any paperwork. However, please have your trunk clear, or the truck bed, or the back seat. Make sure it's all clear. In addition, those seeking help should watch for directional signs and volunteers providing instructions on where to go. The format of the food distribution will be drive-through. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
If you suffer from pogonophobia, you would not want to attend a party with the following people: Kenny Rogers, Santa Claus, Willie Nelson, the cast of Duck Dynasty, and 2/3 of ZZ Top. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 6 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Let us get you up to date with your Chavez County Sports Report.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. The Goddard Rockets baseball team got off to a good start with their triple header against Portales. They got one yesterday, two today. Goddard beats Portales 8-0 yesterday. Brady Dewar 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. Lucian Betancourt and Jaden Herrera combined for the shutout on the mound. Lucian 5 innings pitched with 8 strikeouts. Those two teams will hook up again today in Portales for a doubleheader. Starts at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, Roswell at home today against Carlsbad. The Cavemen come in with a 3-0 district mark. Roswell sitting at 1-2. Goddard playing at Artesia softball. That starts at 5 o'clock this afternoon. And Roswell will be playing a single game baseball. This is softball also over in Hobbs. That's actually 2 games. It's a doubleheader. Starts at 4:30. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks pretty good today. Light wind and sunny skies will be up around the 90-degree mark. Then tonight we have cold front dropping in, and that'll hang around for a while, so we could see some showers. Our overnight low in the upper 50s, and then we've got a pretty good chance of showers and a few thunderstorms on Saturday. We'll stay at about 80. Maybe a shower Saturday night, clearing up on Sunday and 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 70 degrees around Roswell Way, humidity at 71%. Winds out of the southeast at 8 miles an hour with a barometer at 30.03 degrees. Looking for mostly sunny skies for today, 88 for the high. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming 10 to 15 later in the afternoon. As mentioned, the storms blowing in tonight because we got scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly after 3 a.m. Mostly cloudy and a low of around 61 for the overnight low. 10 to 15 mile an hour winds coming out of the southeast. Your chance of rain tonight is 30%. 40% chance of rain on Saturday, and it clears up by Sunday. We're looking at mostly sunny skies by Sunday and 83 for the high. But after a bout of sunshine first part of next week, right about Wednesday, them clouds come back into the area. We got a chance for even more rainfall. 4 minutes away from 9 o'clock, let us pause and get you up to date with your Red Apple Market Report.
All across America, this is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
Stocks rose for the third day in a row. Widely held tech stocks rose, including Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, Tesla, and Microsoft, because of more talk about progress on trade agreements. The White House says the U.S. now has 18 proposals for trade deals on paper. Treasury Secretary Besson says tariff talks with South Korea may get down to the final details next week. Regular WABC guest Charlie Gasparino says people inside the Trump White House have been alerting Wall Street executives that they are nearing a trade agreement in principle with India. But he says we've heard things like this before. Experts say there are going to be tariffs, but probably not as high as first expected. Home sales fell to the lowest rate in years in March because of high mortgage rates and concerns about the economy, and there are 20% more houses on the market than a year ago. After the close, Alphabet, which is Google and YouTube, said their revenues are up 12%. Chobani Yogurt will open a huge new U.S. food manufacturing plant, creating more than 1,000 new jobs in Upper New York State. And President Trump says he's going to hold a lot of trade meetings while in Rome for the funeral of the Pope. With business, I'm Joe Connolly.
This is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report. Greg Kelly here with an urgent retirement warning. Even as President Trump stands up to China, billionaires are fleeing Wall Street. But I trust the experts at Colonial Metals Group to help you. So visit freegoldguide.com/Kelly or call 800-655-5186 for your free gold guide on how to bulletproof your IRA and 401k with tax-free gold. You could also qualify for a free home safe and as much as $7,500 in free silver. Once again, that's freegoldguide.com/Kelly.
Step up to the plate and save at Roswell Honda. Now through the end of the month, the bases are loaded with savings, so you can score a home run and drive home a winner. Like 2.99% APR for 48 months on new Honda HRVs, 2.99% for 36 months on new Pilot, or 1.99% for 36 months on new Honda Ridgeline. Plus, major league savings across the lot on a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. Step up to the plate and drive it home. Now through the end of the month at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Spring has sprung, so it's time to move on into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell. Now the Cow is an authorized handy quilter long-arm dealer. Spring fabrics are here and summer fabrics are arriving daily. Plus quilts, shirts, and rope bowls made right here at the Calico Cow. Brother sewing machines with warranties are also on sale. Plus the Calico Cow can fix and perform maintenance on all brands. Log on to RoswellQuilting.com. Spring into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Your home for Armed American Radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
Town Hall News up next. Keep it locked right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. In what would be a landmark decision, the U.S. Supreme Court this week appeared likely to rule in favor of parents in Maryland who objected on religious grounds to books made available in their district's elementary schools that feature stories about gay and transgender characters. Tony Perkins is president of the Washington-based Family Research Council. He says such a decision would be a stark contrast with another ruling back in the year 1963.
The court ruled that reading of the Bible in schools, which parents could opt their children out of, was unconstitutional on the grounds that it might unduly influence children. Now Scripture is banned, but books like What Are Your Words, Uncle Bobby's Wedding, and Pride Puppy are read to children with no right to opt out. This conflict is not going away. In fact, it's just beginning. And it may make the 50-year battle over abortion look tame by comparison.
This week's Supreme Court arguments over parental rights will be discussed in depth on the Salem News program this week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins, which will be broadcast beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday on the Salem News Channel. President Trump tells Time magazine that Crimea will stay with Russia. The statement comes amid U.S. brokered efforts to end the war in Ukraine. The Black Sea Peninsula in southern Ukraine was seized by Russia in 2014. There's been another Russian drone strike on civilian target in Ukraine. An explosive drone hit an apartment building, killing at least 3 people. President Trump continues to see his agenda stalled by federal judges. The district judge in D.C. blocking the president's attempt to add a proof of citizenship requirement to federal voter registration forms. Watching Wall Street this hour, stocks are mixed. The Dow is down 233 points, while the Nasdaq trading 35 points higher, and the S&P is down 4 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
The health of former Brazilian President Bolsonaro is deteriorating following recent surgery. At the same time, prosecutors are demanding he defend himself against charges of staging a coup after his 2022 election loss.
The former president, who is 70, he's been in hospital for nearly 2 weeks. He was admitted with severe pain and he underwent intestinal surgery for about 12 hours. So it's a very delicate situation. He's had many problems, 6 operations, I believe, since he was stabbed during the electoral campaign in 2018.
The BBC's Leonardo Ruscio. Three men who plotted to kill a former cage fighter who years before had been convicted of being one of the ringleaders in the UK's biggest ever heist have been sentenced to a collective term of over a century in prison. The sentencing of the three men today at London's Central Criminal Court, better known as the Old Bailey. Townhall.com. A Republican task force chief wants to shield the Fed from political influence, including any influence that might be exerted by the executive branch.
A Republican lawmaker tasked with scrutinizing Federal Reserve monetary policy wants Congress to help stabilize financial markets by insulating the central bank from political influence, including from President Donald Trump. Frank Lucas, who chairs the House Financial Services Task Force on Monetary Policy, said the president made a wise decision by clearly stating this week that he has no intention of firing Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. With Congress returning from spring break next week, Lucas said he wants his 14-member task force to identify policy initiatives that can shore up the Fed's independence, enhance Treasury bond market liquidity, and win enough support from Democrats to pass the House of Representatives and the Senate. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
President Trump and First Lady Melania have left for Rome. Tomorrow they'll attend the funeral of the late Pope Francis in the Vatican's St. Peter's Square. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The Travelician, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3. Tracing of a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy. Hold on, my bell's way over there. I'm going to stand up. Happy, I'll say it again, happy Friday morning. Yeah, see, we can still make it happen. Yes. Finally Friday, and hopefully yours is going swimmingly. Gonna have an interesting weekend weather-wise. Kind of getting all of it. Getting the wind, getting the potential for some wet stuff, sunshine, and some pretty warm temps as well. But don't let that stop you, because the Roswell Honda 3rd annual charity golf tournament going to be going down beginning tomorrow at the Nancy Lopez Golf Course there at Spring River. But we are going to be kicking off at 8 a.m. with broadcast live from the Big Blue Brand Wagon, myself alongside our sister station, La Pantera 106.1 FM. I'll be representing our other sister station, 92.9 The Brand. Come on out and join us for all the fun and festivities. If you haven't already done so, registration is still open, but you need to get registered by today. They're going to be posting tee times up on the Roswell Honda Facebook page later today. So get signed up if you haven't already done so. But come on out and join us as we broadcast live 8 to 11 at the 3rd annual Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament, Classic Charity Golf Tournament. It's going to be happening at the Nancy Lopez Golf Course. Hey, also want to put this on your radar. Coming up tonight, the Roswell Refuge is throwing their annual That 70s Dance, the 7th annual SANE dance. It's in recognition of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Now, it's happening starting at 6 o'clock tonight, and it's going down at the Fraternal Order of the Eagles at 3201 South Sunset Avenue. So it's a great little venue there if you've never been out there to the Eagles Lodge. They got a great space, and they're going to be holding their That 70s Dance, so get ready to don your bell bottoms and your polyester and your, maybe your afro wig that you have hanging out, whole lot of chains and a whole lot of chest hair, hopefully for the fellas, And that's going to be going down tonight at the Fraternal Order of the Eagles, 3201 South Sunset. It's dinner, costume contest, silent auction, 50-50 raffle, cash bar, and more. Tickets just $40 per person. And again, all the money raised is going to benefit the Roswell Refuge and all the great work that they do. Tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com. That's brownpapertickets.com. Just look for that 70s Dance. Or you can call 575-624-3222 to get more information. That's 575-624-3222. It's that 70s Dance going down tonight at the Fraternal Order of Eagles, 3201 South Sunset Avenue. Get donned in your best groovy gear and get ready to get down. I got to mention, I recently finished and I've talked about it before here, the Americas documentary on Peacock. And I'm a sucker. I've mentioned it, several times. I'm a sucker for a good nature documentary. I love those shots that it doesn't look like it's even possible they could get. I've had people say, no, that's CGI. It's not, though. They're actually getting these shots. And I know that because the final episode of the Americas was a making of. I've really been looking forward to this one because I wanted to know how they got these phenomenal shots. I'm talking about, shots that you never even thought possible. And yes, drones were involved, but in some cases, it was just kind of silly. Like, for example, there's a certain lagoon, I think it is, in Central to South America, where flamingos gather by the thousands. And this water is very acidic, so it actually can't touch human skin. So these filmmakers, to get this mating dance that these flamingos do every single year, they donned full waterproof suits and they pushed a cart through this knee-thick mud. But the cart had cardboard flamingos taped to it to fool the flamingos, make them feel a little more at home and make them think, oh, well, these are just other flamingos. Very, very still flamingos, but other flamingos. And they managed to get these shots and some great drone shots. In some cases, there was one situation where a guy said he had to sit in this acidic water for 3-4 hours, and he said his hands were burning, his face was on fire, he could barely breathe, but he was there to get the shot. And that's commitment to filmmaking that I can absolutely appreciate. So if you haven't already done so, I fully recommend you check out The Americas on Peacock. It's, I think, a 10-part documentary. Tom Hanks is the narrator. If you're not careful, it can put you to sleep. But if you stay awake and on the edge of your seat, you're really going to see some amazing, amazing footage and learn a thing or two. 11 minutes after 9 o'clock, let us pause for a moment and get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks pretty good today. Light wind and sunny skies will be up around the 90-degree mark. Then tonight we have cold front dropping in, and that'll hang around for a while, so we could see some showers. Our overnight low in the upper 50s, and then we've got a pretty good chance of showers and a few thunderstorms on Saturday. We'll stay at about 80. Maybe a shower Saturday night, clearing up on Sunday and 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, it is 71 degrees around Roswell Way, humidity at 71%. Weird. Wind speeds out of the southeast at 8 miles an hour. Your barometer at 30.03 inches. For your finally Friday, mostly sunny skies, a high of around 88 degrees. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour, increasing to between 10 to 20 in the afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms abound mainly after 3 a.m. in our area. Mostly cloudy, a low of around 61 degrees. Winds out of the southeast 10 to 20, and your chance of rain is about 30%. 40% chance of rain for your Saturday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms before 9 a.m., then scattered showers between 9 a.m. and noon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms afternoon as well. Partly sunny, a high of around 85 degrees. Winds out of the southeast 10 to 15. Chance of rain again 40%. Hopefully the weather will cooperate with us for the golf tournament tomorrow. So keep your fingers crossed for good conditions to hit the greens. Mostly got a 20% chance of showers into Saturday night before midnight. Partly cloudy, a low of around 57. For your Sunday, mostly sunny, 93 for the high. Winds out of the west, 10 to 20 miles an hour, increasing to between 20 to 30 in the afternoon. Sunday night, partly cloudy, dropping down to 57 for the overnight low. Back up to 86 on Monday and breezy. Same thing for your Tuesday, breezy and 82. And then the weather returns. A 20% chance of rain on Wednesday with a high around 84 degrees. 14 minutes after 9 o'clock, going to pause, pay a couple of these bills. And after the break, I didn't even give you the rundown for this morning's program. I'm just used to being in the second banana seat. I'm just here to make funnies and hit the bell when I have to. Also to say the deuce, but whatever. Coming up here in just a few minutes, around 9:15 or so, we'll be chatting with the District Attorney's Office, Diana Luz and Justin Dominguez. Be sitting down with them, getting an idea of what the District Attorney's Office does and what they're up to in the upcoming months. We'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes, right after these on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Check out some of the Build a Better Burger specials you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market. Bags of Tender Crust Jumbo Slice Burger Buns are $1.78 each, and select pounds of Kraft American Seagulls are $4.48 each. In produce, hothouse tomatoes are $1.49 a pound, and Jumbo Vidalia onions are 99 cents a pound. In the meat department, boneless, skinless chicken breasts are $2.77 a pound, and family packs of fresh 73% lean ground beef are $3.29 a pound. These are just some of the Build a Better Burger specials you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market.
At New Mexico Gas Company, we believe there's money hiding in your home. It's true. It's hiding in your insulation, in your water heater, and in your furnace. And New Mexico Gas Company can help you tap into that money with rebates up to $800 for high-efficiency natural gas improvements. Your energy costs will go down, and your wallet will thank you. We're New Mexico Gas Company, and we provide energy efficiency solutions to save you money. That's why we're here. Learn more at nmgcgetrebates.com.
Usually when you hear the comment that someone is aging gracefully, they're speaking about a person's physical appearance. Although that is a nice compliment, I'd rather age gracefully in my spiritual life. I want to come to the end of my life and know that even though I wasn't perfect, I'm confident that God's saving grace covers me and I'm ready to go to heaven with Him. Because of that saving grace, I want to have lived my life serving Him and serving others to the best of my ability. We all have physical and mental challenges as we age, but that doesn't stop us from serving Him or serving others. It may change how we serve, but it doesn't stop us from serving. We don't retire from our Christian life. It's never too late to start living the life God calls you to. It's never too late to accept the saving grace that God offers to all. No matter your age, no matter your abilities, come join us as we learn how to better know Jesus and make Jesus known.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Mulan has the highest kill count of any Disney character. When asked for comment, Buzz Lightyear responded, "To infinity and beyond." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining me in studio this morning is Diana Luz and Justin Dominguez from the District Attorney's Office. How are y'all doing this morning?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good. So, in the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two equal yet individual sides. I had to look this up, by the way. It's the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. What's your story?
Dong dong. Right? Yeah, isn't that the Law and Order phrase?
It is.
Yeah.
I was thinking I've heard this before.
I didn't do the voice, but
I'd like to be Jack McCoy instead of real life, where we have rules and ethics that apply to what we do. So,
absolutely.
I think we get a lot more credit for what people think we have the ability to do. But what we do is prosecute misdemeanors and felony cases that are brought to us by our law enforcement. And we take it from there. We don't normally investigate, and we don't control the sentencing outcome.
Right.
And so we're the in-between. We're kind of the middle of the Oreo.
Yeah, the middleman, the liaison, the ones who know how to handle the system, essentially. So what's that process like? I mean, take us through the process of, the police, they come to you with a case, they put it in your lap, and then where does it go from there?
So I think primarily once on inception, there's a lot of communication. Like, communication is one of the most paramount parts of what the district attorney's office does in working with law enforcement agencies, because once a case is brought to the attorney, then it's the attorney's duty to meet with that case agent and discuss the case with them to where if there are holes or now they won't advise them on what to do or how to do their investigation, but they can collectively discuss the case and determine the best way to move forward. With the ultimate goal being able to have a strong case to move forward through with prosecution.
Basically, the police hand you a pile of knots and they expect you to undo the knots and kind of make a case out of it.
Well, we hope that when they bring it to us, it's pretty well laid out. All we're really doing is deciding if we agree with the charges that they've selected. Maybe we think there's an additional charge. Maybe we think there's a better charge.
Okay.
Or if there's a victim in a case and it's not a urgent filing type of victim crime, we may want to meet with the victim, or if it's a child, a victim and a parent, guardian.
Sure.
Before we go forward. But normally, police have got it pretty well laid out. They bring us the document to file. They're ready, right? They're waiting on us, which is kind of the story of their lives. But we're kind of the gatekeeper for that. We can't just let every case that happens be filed, because we do have an ethical obligation to make sure we can prove it.
Sure.
And we have a lot of cases. One thing I can say is we have some of the best law enforcement in the 5th District. We, even during COVID, didn't see much of a slowdown on filings. We were one of the, I think we were the only district that was like that in the state. Our law enforcement continued to work all crimes to the best of their ability, and the courts continued to operate. We did trials. We did everything we could do to move things forward. So I think what really and truly happens is then it's a hurry up and wait game. Sometimes law enforcement bringing it to us because we're like, okay, you've done all this work, but we need to reflect and think and be ready. Right. Obviously, they're the cases that happen that we file them immediately, and then we ask for more work to be done.
Sure. There's certain ones that take precedence over others. Maybe there's sensitive information, time-sensitive information that needs to be addressed or looked into. That's actually amazing that we were the one of the only counties that had no slowdown during a process like COVID. And I remember the whole process of going through the court system and having to do the Zoom calls and all that, and everybody having to learn so much technology so quickly. And it was
a crazy time. It was definitely a crazy time
to see old folks bumble with technology. We'll just put it that way. You're on mute. No, you're on mute.
We still do that because the one thing the courts have allowed is we still do a lot of hearings through their Google Meets platform, which is really convenient, especially like the 5th District, which is 3 counties. We have private defense attorneys that do contract, and they cover all those counties as well. And to have the time to drive between hearing to hearing, what used to happen was we would wait for a couple hours for the attorney to finish in one location and drive to another. We still do that, and we, once again, the 5th, we like to be special, right? The Supreme Court has allowed our judges discretion to do more virtual than what some of the other districts are doing because we are so spread out. And we want things to move. And if cases can move faster for that reason, and a hearing's going to take 10 minutes, do you really need to drive 2 hours?
Right. And that was actually something we were talking about with the Sheriff's Department last hour is just Chavez County in general, the 5th, your district, is so spread out, so widespread that having that technology really comes in handy. I don't want to go as far as to say thank you, COVID, but I feel like being put in a position where we had to figure out what to do next kind of helped us moving forward and kind of aided the whole process.
Well, as much as that time hurt us, I think it helped us in a lot of ways also because it showed us viable alternatives to ways that we were doing things just because that's how it's always been done.
Yeah, it kind of broke the status quo. It's like, oh, we can do this on our own. We just have to find workarounds. That sounds like a conversation I've had with my boss at least 2 times this week. No, I don't have to do it your way. I'm going to do it my way. It's still going to work. Watch. But so yeah, it's a long and complicated process, obviously, and one that I'm sure you guys takes very seriously and it's like I said, it's an undertaking. But what's the process like for you on the ground? Like as far as like you mentioned earlier, maybe having to go and talk to a family, talk to a young person, and that's where you guys have resources that kind of help put the room at ease before a complicated conversation has to happen.
Well, we're fortunate enough in our district where we have some amazing victims advocates that work out of each office, and collectively, I don't think we can ever say enough about the VAs that work for the 5th Judicial District and their ability to communicate and to relate to victims or people that have been victimized. They have just an amazing ability to comfort them and speak with them and ultimately to help them through the process and, you know, show them that they are supported, that they are heard, and that there are resources out there available to them. So they play a vital role. And then I'll let Diana talk about our canines that we have, because she was instrumental in getting that started, not only for our district, but pretty much statewide.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an amazing program.
Well, yeah, the court facility dogs, the DA dogs that Gina Yeager and the nonprofit foundation now operate for us, they are amazing. And they've expanded even beyond working with victims in our office. They now have a regular rotation with the police department to go over and be available for officers, be available for dispatchers. There's a lot of incidents that occur that may or may not be cases, but it's still trauma.
Sure.
They've been going to the library and reading with kids. And so and we go to schools whenever the opportunity happens, just to be the positive, not when there's a crisis.
Right.
Our dogs have actually, as you know, they've been on, Ms. Yeager's been on many times to talk about how, you know, we've traveled the entire state. She's traveled
Texas,
to Texas multiple times. The FBI reaches out on a regular basis to our program, and we have had a consistent program. We have 4 dogs all the time in our district, and so it's a really strong program, and we have really great handlers. But the point of the process of that is that we have resources for people. It's not perfect.
Sure.
Every victim is not going to maybe feel like we did 110%, but our people give 110% every day that are advocates to help people and to reach out and to talk to them and explain. And some cases don't go well. Some cases are never filed. But those resources are there. And the dogs are not only there for the public, but they're there for us too.
Sure.
Some days I think they benefit all of us that work in the office as much as they do anybody else.
Oh, absolutely. Because, you know, there's only so many times you can give a coworker a good scritch, and this is one of those situations. You touched on something back there that I think is really important, and that's letting, you know, programs like the DA Dogs, some of the other programs, your other resources, exist in peacetime, so that when the chaotic times are happening, it's that much more of a comfort, because those dogs have been a presence. They were at the library.
It's familiar.
I met this dog. You know, I hung out with this dog, and so if a child's in a situation like I mentioned even last hour with you know, getting pulled over and my daughter on the spectrum, having that calming voice, that presence of things are going to be okay, it really just helps the entire process move along smoother. So yeah, it's an amazing thing to have. And the other thing is, I think that we tend to be kind of callous when it comes to looking at cases like, why hadn't it been decided? Why hadn't it gone to trial? What's this? What? You guys are close to it, and so you see the people behind the cases, and that's maybe why a case takes a little longer to go to trial, or maybe why a case doesn't ever go to trial, because you guys take the time to actually get to know those people. I think that's the important thing.
We get to know the people, and then we also have to work within the process.
Right.
At times, our office may be short-staffed of attorneys. The public defenders that do the bulk of the defense cases may be short-staffed. Judges can only set so many cases on their calendar and schedule. You start moving all the parts, it's very frustrating for the public to understand why it takes so long. We feel like, why does it take so long? And then when we think we're ready, like say, trying to get civilians and officers who are not on vacation or training or sick, and make all the parts line up. But we do a lot of trials. I think Travis County does a huge number. And our district, I'm going to forget if we were second this time for FY24 stats for the state. Those are the court stats in doing jury trials. We were second only to Albuquerque.
Oh, wow.
So we do a lot of trials. Sometimes the public may not feel like that. Social media, we see a lot of that. Where it's like, oh, they just played everything out. We really don't. We really don't.
Right.
We do a lot of trials. I do a lot of trials.
Mhm.
I set a record for myself for violent crime last year of doing 13 jury trials, and 7 of those were either first-degree homicides or first-degree child abuse resulting in death. So it takes a lot of the court's time to do motions and prep and juries and then
Sure.
to try those. So when people start thinking about multiple week trials, and I know they just had the gun violence awareness event, the what we sadly refer to as the Cahoon Park shooting. I mean, we tried 3 different individuals. We did one trial, and then we joined 2. Both of those were more than 1 week. I think they were both more than 2.
Yeah.
And so if you think about the time that it took to get those ready into trial, that was a long time coming for those families.
And to give each side their chance for discovery and to get the information that they need for attorneys and all that stuff. Everything is a process, and it gets drawn out for sure.
And that's what I was going to say too. Is like just because we get everything together and file a case and stuff, when then we disclose to the defense counsel, whoever's representing the defendant, access to all of the material, and then say they want to go and look at the scene, or they have their amount of time to look into everything and review evidence and stuff like that, and to conduct their own interviews and stuff. So it's not just a crime happens, we get the case, we file it, it should go.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, if you do that, that's when cases get thrown out because a step was missed.
Sure.
Or, certain parties didn't have enough time to go over evidence. And
Sure.
It's absolutely an important part of things. And I think that a lot of us forget that also, and this is the sad part of it, is that Roswell is not even close to the biggest area or town or city in New Mexico, and we face so much crime and so many problems on the streets. You guys are inundated with cases. I imagine every day it's just they walk in and slap a stack of portfolios on your desk and say, okay, now start at the top and work your way down. So I'm sure y'all are working multiple cases throughout the course of a day, keeping each plate spinning and trying to make so where are we at in this case? Let's go look over here, and that's got to take it out of you.
Well, see, and it's not even just that. It's multiple attorneys are working multiple cases, daily. They're doing their best to prioritize and manage their time and their caseloads to ensure that none of those steps are missed on multiple cases for each attorney.
And even something you touched on before with the public defender's office, I've known 2 public defenders in southeastern New Mexico over the course of the last 15 years, and neither one of them were very happy people at all. They just, you deal with these cases on a daily basis, and you see the best sides of people's shore sometimes, but you see just the worst of people, and it's draining. It takes it out of you, So what do you do to unwind after a long day of trauma? What's your way to unwind?
Well, everybody in the office knows that I'm like a fitness person.
Okay.
So since I can't get them to run with me, I think I've ran off all the staff that would run with me. So out there, hey, Roswell Runners Club,
there you go.
Somebody contact me because I need to find another running buddy.
She's a running partner.
But I do fitness. That's my stress relief.
Sure.
I'm a member of a really good group of people that do that, and I encourage our people. We encourage for built into the day. They don't have to do it in the evening or early morning. We've built in so that our staff are allowed to take off during the day and have 30 minutes of exercise time.
Nice.
So many days a week, and it may just be walking. A lot of people walk around the courthouse.
Yeah.
You see the court staff, you see our staff doing that. You just have to get away from that screen, away from the phone, and get outside in some fresh air. Right now, what's the heat? Right, we went from winter to summer. Right,
with no spring in between,
and back to winter, and then back to summer.
I'm really glad that there's a healthy amount of runners out there in Roswell. I'm glad that they give you that time to have that exercise. I don't run. I've made the joke before that if the zombie apocalypse ever happened, I hope we get the slow zombies, not like the World War Z zombies that run, because I'd be screwed if it's that one. But that's awesome that the department gives you understands the undertaking that your department is taking on, and you give your folks the time to just de-stress a bit, to deflate.
And I can say this with all certainty: in the 20 plus years that I've been involved in law enforcement, I don't think I've ever worked for someone who placed as much emphasis on mental health as Diana. She really does her best to make sure that she provides our district and all the staff in our district with time off for different things, and she's very gracious in allowing us, access to time or whatever the case may be to help, with our mental health, because she understands the load of stress that our staff members are under, and she empathizes because she sits in the same chair and does the same job, and so she definitely does a great job making sure, not just because she's sitting right next to me either, but she does a great job at making sure, at putting an emphasis on making sure that our mental health is in check also.
And that's so important with what you guys do. I mean, because everything, every part of your job, every aspect has to have that certain amount of focus. You have to be paying close attention, because even one missed detail, can result in a thrown out case or any number of situations. What I do for a living, I don't have to pay that much attention. I don't have to have that much focus. So it's very easy to kind of like take some mental time and kind of break away myself. But for your department, working in that mental health time is vital. I think it's the one thing that's keeping you guys on the same page and working smoothly.
It's definitely not like an environment where you'll hear a couple of staff members in the hallway laughing or something, and somebody pops out and goes, "Why are you laughing? There's no laughter here. Go get back to work." You know what I mean? It's. I think we do our best to try to create a good environment for everybody that works in the Fifth at the different offices, and it gives them, there's different, every morning I'll wake up and on my work phone I'll have an email from one of the offices where they say, "Hey, good morning everybody, donuts in the break room," or "Breakfast burritos are in the kitchen, help yourselves." You know what I mean? Like, a lot of our staff throughout the entire district do a great job at making sure that the staff feels appreciated and that they know what they do matters and how much they matter to the administrative staff.
Morale makes a difference, and it's amazing how few managers know that or understand that. We need our boost too every now and again, especially with what you guys do. It's quite the undertaking. So how let's start at the beginning. I'm curious, how did you get into the district attorney's office? Where was your start? Because you said you've been in law enforcement for 20 years.
So I started with the New Mexico Department of Corrections in 2002.
Okay.
And I was right out of high school. I was 18. I went through the academy and was in the Department of Corrections for about 9 years. I worked on the intelligence unit. I worked primarily gangs and narcotics for the Department of Corrections. And then I left and came to the street side of law enforcement. Worked in Artesia PD for a little while, Lovington PD for a little while, before ultimately going to the Eddy County Sheriff's Office. And I was with the Eddy County Sheriff's Office for just shy of 9 years or 8 years before I had the opportunity to switch over to the District Attorney's Office as an investigator.
That's quite the process. That's so you definitely put in your time, and so in that process, you've seen law enforcement from so many different angles. From the administrative side of things to the actual street side of things, it puts everything into perspective, and I imagine it has to help guide you through what you do now with getting a case to trial and putting things together, having that knowledge of seeing all aspects of it.
I think one of the biggest benefits of my career has been able to see from this side of the table what's going on, because from the other side we work a case and we never really get to fully understand. We have court prep and stuff like that in the academy, but on a very minimal scale. It's up to us to continue to hone those skills in when it comes to testifying and stuff like that. So to actually be able to see it from the eyes of an attorney's office, through the eyes of an attorney, how important it is to pay attention to certain details and things that we on the streets sometimes didn't really even think carried that much weight.
Right.
I mean, it's really, there's no other word to say than it's really cool to be able to see it from this side. And then I've always maintained that relationship with my buddies that are still in, the other law enforcement agencies, police officers and sheriff's departments, to be able to bring that to them and show them, well, hey, this is why, this is what's going on. This is when we used to think this, well, this is why. And and so it's really cool to be able to share that.
It's had to change your perspective on paperwork, I'd imagine, because when you're, when you're just a street beat officer, you're like, I don't want to do the paperwork after this. Those are the details that once it gets up to the higher ups, the district attorney's office, that's what's going to make the difference.
Well, see, and I'm weird because I don't mind paperwork. I enjoy report writing and stuff like that. I love to draft reports and write, letters and stuff like that. That's words have always kind of been kind of my thing. You know what I mean?
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
So I enjoy doing those and drafting those and helping, because it is very important. The devil's in the details when it comes to documentation. So being able to help, detectives and stuff like that with drafting documents and stuff, it's very beneficial to be able to see it from this side now also, and for that to be something that I enjoy versus something that I dread having to do.
Sure, absolutely. Dad, what got you into to law enforcement, and how did you work your way up to the district attorney's office?
Well, I was probably like in 7th grade by the time I knew what I wanted to do for my career. I wanted to be a prosecutor. I was one of those kids that always got in trouble for talking from the time they were in like 1st grade. And
sure.
So I found a way to talk for a living.
Me too.
Much to everybody's maybe sometimes disappointment at times. Their judges would like for me to be quiet, I'm sure. But I was, I was that generation of Perry Mason, right?
Sure.
And so when I was looking for law school, you start looking at what jobs let you actually do the kind of work you want to do. And I did work for a little bit at a firm and for a few months, and it was great. I mean, they're great people. It was wonderful, but they always knew that I wanted to be in a courtroom, and that's what I did. So I actually started with Tom Rutledge. When he was district attorney. I started here in Roswell in the Roswell office. But then ultimately my husband's job led us over to Lovington, to Lee County. And so I stayed office to office, right? I just had to wait for an opening. And then I left for a while and did private practice. I was a magistrate judge in Lovington for 4 years. And then I came back when Janetta Hicks became district attorney. I came back as her chief deputy over in Lee County.
Okay.
So when she retired in 2015, I became district attorney. And so I'm still here.
Yeah.
Just started a new term in January.
Yes.
So, thank you
goodness.
to everybody that voted for me. And, it's kind of that double-edged thing, right? Be careful what you ask for.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. You're like,
you ask
yes,
for the
we
job.
won. And then you turn around and you're like, oh.
What have I done?
What doors did I just open?
Yeah, there are days when you go, wow, I asked for this job, right? Some days it's hard.
But that's sort of the beauty of it, is because you can take the situation, take the what you've been given with the district attorney's office, and you can kind of mold it to what you need it to be, how it can work, and put things in place that and have seen and have experienced that have gotten results.
Yeah, I'm definitely a problem-solving person. I want to fix things.
Sure.
Always want to go to, okay, we can fix this right now. Right now, I can fix it. I'm not good at patience. So, helping people and helping the process. We can't always control the outcome, but we have a better chance at it. And I really enjoy. I went to law school at UNM, which was. Kind of interesting for this part of the state, right? I mean, I was accepted to Texas Tech. That would have probably been a good fit. But I think UNM pushed me more because I was a conservative in a non-conservative environment. And so I was challenged more and I felt like I had to work harder at times, even though maybe I really didn't. That's your perception.
Right.
I think that gave me a really good start for my career as an attorney. And so I went from someone, believe it or not, who was shy and didn't like to talk. There were people that, I'm serious, people I graduated from high school with that are still amazed at the difference in who I am today. But definitely this job gives you that opportunity. We see a lot of prosecutors that come along that are sometimes a little quiet. Maybe they didn't have a lot of public speaking opportunity.
Sure.
They didn't think about being a trial attorney, but they need a job. And we give them a year. We'll transform them, and they'll think this is great. Now, they may not stay.
Right.
Because along with that, law enforcement filing cases and us having a lot of trials, we have high caseloads in the 5th. And so sadly, they can go to another DA's office or the AG's office, or Department of Justice now, right, or the U.S. Attorney's office, and sometimes make more money and have a lower caseload.
Sure, and it's hard to retain top talent as they say, but you also kind of have to take a little heart knowing that I did that.
Right.
We put that in.
We
them.
helped them.
Absolutely, we instilled that in them. It's funny you mentioned that because one of my close personal friends I went to high school with, she is an attorney now in Colorado, and in high school she was the quietest human being I've ever met in my entire life, and she will not shut up now. She posts whole novels on Facebook. I'll get on the phone. I'll be on there for 45 minutes, and she's telling me every aspect of her life. I never knew anything about any of this, but it really is amazing that a little bit of goading in the right direction, knowing that your words have weight and have a little power. That makes a difference.
Well, and I think one of the things that's unique about our district that sometimes people don't realize or understand if you don't see it day to day is that our elected district attorney, Diana, carries a caseload herself. Most district attorneys across the state are the administrative figure or perform the administrative functions of their office. She carries a caseload just like all the other attorneys, and in fact, sometimes I think maybe last year ended up doing more high-profile jury trials than any of the other line attorneys. So she doesn't just say, come in and do this. She shows and does and carries the load also. Kind of leads from the front.
And I don't know a lot about what goes into the process of a trial, but I got to imagine there's got to be a little bit of a, when you're the prosecuting attorney, there's got to be a little bit of a theatrics that goes into it. You're kind of, it's a jury trial. You're kind of trying to sway people, so there's a little bit of emotion and theatrics that go into it.
I think there's a little bit of that. There's less from the prosecution side than the defense side because we very much we take not only our oath as an attorney to be licensed to practice in New Mexico, but we have a separate prosecutor's oath that we have to take. And we have different ethics rules additional ethics rules for prosecutors. And so, that's why the movies pull all of those cool words out.
Right.
A few good men, without passion or prejudice represent the government, right? We're the state, not the government. People always confuse that. We hear that a lot in trial from defense. But sometimes we may compare it to like if those that might work in ministry, where they have a little bit of that ability to, with that passion, to convey a message.
Absolutely.
So we have a few people that are really good in that regard, and then others, it's just more about presentation.
Sure.
It's like you said, we learned technology during COVID. I think jurors want it to look like it's a professional show when they see video and they want to see PowerPoint. They want the audio to be good. And they would be amazed at the lack of the equipment that we have, the lack of the equipment that courts have to be able to do that.
Sure.
And so at times they may be looking at us like is this the kindergarten project that you all brought to court because the sound won't work, something's not working. But I think that to be a trial attorney, you have to have a little bit of, even though you may never have known you wanted to do theater, right? You have to have a little bit of that inside of you, kind of like your friend, right?
Yeah.
You don't know until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
We find that with people. We find that even sometimes with people that came to work as victim advocates, sometimes they weren't really sure that's what they wanted to do.
Right.
And then they just blossom in that field when they recognize that they have that ability to have empathy and to listen. Listening, we do a lot of listening. We talk a lot, but we do as much listening.
And it's almost a theme of the morning because we touched on this last hour with the sheriff. It's so often people are just waiting for the next thing to say. We don't listen to what somebody's saying. And taking that time to actively listen to a person's story and to a person's situation, it makes so much difference.
Yeah, and I was walking into my office the other morning, and there's two other staff members that are in the area just outside where my office is, and I walked through and I asked one of the ladies, I said, "Good morning, how are you?" And she was just like, "I'm fine." And I stopped and I said, "No, how are you? Genuinely, how are you today? If something's on your mind or whatever, talk to me. How are you?" I said, too often we get so caught up in just answering in a pass, "How are you? I'm fine, thanks," when we don't think people want to hear or care to hear about what's going on if something really is going on. So that's just the culture that we try to create in our offices and stuff like that.
So the next time somebody says, "Hey, how are you doing?" My kids are loud. I got heartburn. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna use that time.
Don't ask if you don't want.
Self-help, you know?
Yeah,
Don't ask.
absolutely.
You don't want to know the answer.
Absolutely.
So if folks want to learn more about the district attorney's office, what you guys do, the services you provide, and the resources that are available to them, how do they go about doing that?
Well, they can contact our office.
Okay.
They can. We have what's called a 5th DA email address that we give out, and it's actually the number 5 THDA, and we give that one out to people so that they can email. It comes to a group of us so that someone will respond.
A signal chat.
They can always just come into the building. The security will let our office know somebody's there. But to let people know about our office, they can always come watch trials. Court's public, so when we're in the courtroom in person, not virtual, they can come in and watch. Now, sometimes there may be a limit to seating, and
Sure.
I understand that, but they can watch hearings. The other thing that we do, and we've really been blessed that we're going to have coming up soon in May, is we have interns. They may be somebody that's we've actually had someone from in high school before as an intern work for us over the summer, whether they're undergrad, whether they're in law school, different phases. Maybe they want to do law. Maybe they want to do something connected to law.
Sure.
Maybe they're going to hate it, but they won't know till they're there.
Right.
So we invite people to reach out. We also go out and speak. Anytime Rotary, Kiwanis, Optimus, any of the other civic groups ask us, somebody from our office will go and speak and hand out pamphlets and cards and say, this is how you contact our office.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. So lots of ways to reach out to your 5th Judicial District Court. So let's take some time moving forward. It's going to be a complicated few weeks, month. We're getting into the busy season, obviously, with the Reno air races coming our way. Let's just remember that what you guys do is such an amazing thing, and it's so important to the process. And it's something that I think people tend to forget. They look over, they gloss over the intricacies that go into what you guys do. So I want to thank you for everything y'all are doing, and we really appreciate the hard work that you guys put in.
Yes, sir.
The program. And also keeping it, with the community, keeping it of the people, with the DA dogs and all those programs. It's awesome to see that we use the few resources that we have, and we use them to such amazing, end results. So thank you guys for what you do.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for having us. Y'all are always great to let us come and talk, and sometimes we feel like, why would the public want to hear from us, right? So we really do appreciate it.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Good.
Appreciate it.
9 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let us pause and get you up to date with some local news.
Now for your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Sorello. A free in-person car seat fitting station is happening today from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Tadpoles Daycare, 2205 North Atkinson in Roswell. The car seat fitting station provides parents and caregivers with instructions on the proper selection, installation, and use of their car seats from nationally certified child passenger safety technicians. To be considered for a seat replacement, the child must be present. A $35 seat replacement fee may also apply. Car seat inspections are first come, first served. Appointments are not necessary. To participate in the car seat fitting station, parents and caregivers should bring their car seat manual, vehicle manual, and the child should be present. And a reminder, there is a pop-up food distribution event happening in Artesia on Saturday. The event at the Bulldog Bowl starting at 10 a.m. Community members seeking to receive food assistance do not need to register in advance, and you do not need to bring any paperwork. However, please have your trunk clear, or the truck bed, or the back seat. Make sure it's all clear. In addition, those seeking help should watch for directional signs and volunteers providing instructions on where to go. The format of the food distribution will be drive-through. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
You can't make this up. Congressman Peter Welch visited detained Columbia University activist. This guy calling him a friend and praising his work with Jewish brothers and sisters on Columbia's campus. Oh, okay. Well, this guy that he was visiting with could empathize with Hamas's decision to launch the attack and use the siren to drown out pro-Israel students protesting for the release of Israeli child hostages. This is what the Democratic Party's now been reduced to? Pretty amazing. This is the hill that they want to die on. Protecting and championing men's rights for women's sports, championing pro-Hamas sympathizers.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
Now, don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless that comes with a lot of fine print, plus. Oh, in other words, you pay more. At the end of the day, you paid for that, quote, free phone 3 times over. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my cell phone provider, a veteran-owned company, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a much better offer. A free phone with a qualifying plan for just $35 a month, and you get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26. Just make the switch to Pure Talk for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot and roaming, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, pound 250, keyword save now. Get your free Samsung Galaxy with a qualifying plan when you switch to Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. The Goddard Rockets baseball team got off to a good start with their triple header against Portales. They got 1 yesterday, 2 today. Goddard beats Portales 8-0 yesterday. Brady Dewar 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. Lucian Betancourt and Jaden Herrera combined for the shutout on the mound. Lucian 5 innings pitched with 8 strikeouts. Those two teams will hook up again today in Portales for a doubleheader. Starts at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, Roswell at home today against Carlsbad. The Cavemen come in with a 3-0 district mark. Roswell sitting at 1-2. Goddard playing at Artesia softball. That starts at 5 o'clock this afternoon. And Roswell will be playing a single game baseball. This is softball also over in Hobbs. That's actually 2 games. It's a doubleheader. Starts at 4:30. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks pretty good today. Light wind and sunny skies will be up around the 90-degree mark. Then tonight we have cold front dropping in, and that'll hang around for a while, so we could see some showers. Our overnight low in the upper 50s, and then we've got a pretty good chance of showers and a few thunderstorms on Saturday. We'll stay at about 80. Maybe a shower Saturday night, clearing up on Sunday and 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street has racked up 3 straight days of gains, propelled by strong corporate earnings, as well as hopes that the Federal Reserve may decide to cut interest rates. Shares of Alphabet jumped 5% early on, as Google's parent company reports profits soaring 50% in the first quarter of the year. Google's stellar results come as the tech giant faces competitive and legal threats amid an economy that's been roiled by a global trade war. Intel, which beat Wall Street's quarterly projections, has issued conservative guidance for this year. Executives cite an increasingly uncertain economic landscape driven by shifting trade policies, persistent inflation, and increased regulatory risks. Intel shares slid 3.8% pre-market. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Injury, surgery, or illness can set you back, but you don't have to recover alone. At Artesia General Hospital, our rehabilitation services team provides physical, occupational, and speech therapy to help you regain strength, mobility, and confidence. Take the next step toward recovery. Call 575-736-8174 today to schedule an appointment and get back to living life to the fullest.
Picture this.
You're behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor. You're effortlessly breaking ground, moving piles of rocks just by moving a lever, and enjoying the sun as you clear brush across your pasture. We could keep trying to put you in the moment, but to really understand what this feels like, you just have to get in the seat.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
Tee up for the 3rd annual Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament, Saturday and Sunday, April 26th and 27th at Spring River Golf Course in Roswell, with a double shotgun start at 7:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday. Prizes for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, as well as longest drive closest to the pin, and a Honda Civic driver and putter with a hole-in-one, plus free breakfast and lunch each day and free beer. Don't forget about the Trans-Aero helicopter golf ball drop at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Proceeds this year to benefit the VFW of Roswell, providing support and resources to our local veterans of foreign wars. Sign your team up at RoswellHonda.com or find Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament on Facebook to learn more. The 3rd annual Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament, Saturday and Sunday, April 26th and 27th at the Spring River Golf Course in Roswell. Sponsored by Pepsi, Southwest Printers, Pecos Valley Broadcasting, Albertsons, Trans-Aero Medevac, ABC Distributors, and Roswell Honda. Together we play for a purpose. Together we make a difference.
Your home for Coast to Coast AM in Roswell, 106.5, Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
And that's going to wrap things up from our end on this finally Friday morning. Mixmaster Mike Winters back inside your radios this coming Monday morning. Happy birthday, Mixmaster Mike. Of course, you deserve every single bit of this day off, so please enjoy it. Town Hall News up next. Of course, Travis and Sexton on the other side of that. We'll talk to you bright and early Monday morning. Have a great weekend.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Nuclear negotiations will continue between the United States and Iran this weekend.
Experts on